on the 2001 ASA AC-Delco Racing Series. This is the Wisconsin 300 at the Madison International Speedway, and we're ready for another ASA short track attack.
Gentlemen, start your Vortec engine.
And with that command from 1980 Daytona 500 winner Buddy Baker, 34 Vortec engines spring to life, ready to do battle over 300 laps in the next round of the ASA racing season. Welcome to Madison International Speedway in Oregon, Wisconsin. It's round 15 of 20 in the $6 million ASA AC-Delco Racing Series for 2001. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris McClure. Buddy Baker will be alongside in just a moment. Bob Dillner and Bob Gerald will be in the pits for us this evening. Now, taking a look at the runners and the riders, 34 of them on the pole for the second consecutive race. It is Mike Garvey. We have Mike Cope in row number 3, Mr. Payne in the next row. In row number 6, a bit of a surprise, he's that far back. It is the points leader, Johnny Sauter. Travis Kittleson in row 7, he's back to the series. Butch Miller, number 52, he's won here before. He's in row number 9. Russ Tuttle, who's been coming on a little bit better lately. Matt Sealski looking for a breakthrough in the next row. Row 13 and 14, there you see them. And at the back, J.C. Beatty Jr. and John Silverthorne. The field is now rolling at Madison International Raceway. The Wisconsin 300 lies just ahead. A few more times around, and we're going to see a green flag. Stay right there. Coverage of the 2001 ASA AC-Delco Racing Series Championship is being brought to you by BF Goodrich Tires. Take control. And by Fram Filters. Pay a little more now or pay a lot later. This is Madison, Keystone City of Wisconsin. It is foremost the seat of government for the state of Wisconsin. The grounds of the Badger State's Capitol building, one of the most picturesque in our nation. Madison is also home to the University of Wisconsin, a proud member of the Big Ten Athletic Conference and a significant seat of learning in the upper Midwest. And just south of town, Madison International Raceway, where 34 ASA runners are about to do battle in the next round of the 2001 season. A season that is led by Johnny Sauter in the championship chase. He's going to be tough to track down, but it's not impossible. Before we turn them loose for 300 laps, let's take a moment for the BF Goodrich point of view.
You know, most of the racetracks that we go to, we talk about speed all the time. This racetrack is built like a giant paper clip. Brakes are very important. Notice the big brake ducts here trying to blow cool air on the brakes. If you lose the brakes here, you're out of the race, and your chances of winning are gone with it. Bob Dillner?
Buddy brakes win a lot of races for a lot of drivers. Just ask Johnny Sauter. From the moment he switched his brake package this year, he went on a tear. He's won 50% of the races, 7 out of 14, and he is the point leader. But the race for the championship goes through Wisconsin tonight, and Johnny is a local cheesehead. He's never run here before, but he wants this win real bad. Bobby Gerald.
Bob, Gary St. Amant has been racing at Madison International for 15 years, first coming here in 1986. And for the consistent one, he sits in second place in the point standings, but it's been a tough week. St. Amant had kidney stones on Monday, but he's here ready to tough it out and go racing tonight. And Chris McClure with his 10 top 5 finishes and 2 wins. If Sauter stumbles, St. Amant and the win 7 are right there.
Bobby, I'll tell you who else is liable to be right there. Butch Miller, number 52. In fact, if experience on a given racetrack is any tiebreaker, then Butch probably has a leg up. He's the only man in this field who has participated in all 5 ASA races held right here. Now, last year, he finished in 5th place, but back in 1985, he won this race. We'll keep an eye on Butch Miller, but then again, we always do. That's this evening's BFG POV. And Buddy Baker, we're going to have to watch Butch Miller climb from 21st position. He was third quick in qualifying, but he made a decision.
Boy, I know he hated to give up track position, but he had to work on the clutch and adjust it. He's doing the right thing. You lose the clutch, you're out of the race.
So he's got the clutch where he wants it and ready to do battle with all the rest of them. The rookie of the points is led by Johnny Sauter. We'll review that as the evening goes along. Meantime, how about another family affair in ASA?
Well, we talk about family and teamwork a lot in ASA racing, and here's a great story for you. Lou Ingebretson, standing next to me, was diagnosed with a kidney disease in March, and less than 1 month ago went through a kidney transplant. The organ donor was your brother, and now you've done something nice for him to reciprocate.
Yeah, I saw an advertise for a contest for the ASA 300 to start the wave the green flag, and I thought it'd be a great thing for my brother to do.
And so he rode in, he won the contest, and here's brother Richard, who donated the kidney, and we salute you obviously for that.
Thank you.
The green flag waving today. You gonna have fun?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to have fun with it. I'm a little bit nervous, but we'll get it done.
I tell you what, it's just one more example, guys, of how ASA keeps everything in the family.
And the field about ready to go. Richard Ingebretson is on the stand and ready to wave that green flag 1 or 2 more times around, and we should get that signal, Buddy Baker. And this is going to be a dynamite race. We know that. The rookie points, let's look at those quickly. Johnny Sauter in control. It's going to be hard to keep Sauter from winning at least that award before this season is done. Now, it's a half-mile around. It's high bank. We're about to get a green. This is a real challenge.
The Vortex pace truck pulls off. We're anticipating a green flag as they come off the 4th turn now down to the green flag.
Long straightaways, narrow corners, car control is very, very important. Richard Ingebretson gives them the green flag, and we are racing in Madison. Quickly to the point on the low groove in 1. That is Mike Garvey on the point, but Spaw challenges on the high side. Now they single out into turn number 3. And Mike Miller giving up space as moving up on the outside in the high groove of turn 3 and 4. That's Jason Schuler.
That was a beautiful shot from Johnny Sauter's car as they come around the corner there. That's Robbie Powell in the 63, the red car. You see the 18 there, Mike Miller on the inside. These guys are side by side on a very difficult racetrack to get around.
Down the front straightaway they come, completing lap number 2. It is Mike Garvey on the point. Now in Cedar Rapids, he won the pole there, Buddy Baker, and he seemed to have fire in his eye, but he never had the car beneath him that he really wanted, and it went away from him early.
You're right about that. And just behind him, Johnny Spaw, the best qualifying he's had in ASA, the 6-time champion down in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, there at Hawkeye Down, doing a great job tonight, running the 2nd spot. But look at this war behind him.
Well, there's a lot of battles for position going on, setting the top 5. Garvey, Spaw, Schuler, Pyle, and number 25, Mike Cope, who is working his way up. He's attacking it against last year's pole sitter here. That is number 63, the red Citgo machine of Mr. Pyle.
And Joey Clanton in the 83 there was disappointed with his qualifying speed, but he's moving towards the front.
Working on leader lap number 5 already. That's about to go into the books, and it is Mike Garvey in control.
And Jason Schuler in 3rd spot. He just started a couple of ASA races, but he has track knowledge here. Won a 250-lap late model race here last year, so he does know the racetrack.
Knows his way around, got a huge reception from this huge crowd on hand at Madison. And there's 25, the second blue car in line there. That is Mike Cope. He has now moved past Pyle into the 4th position. As a matter of fact, number 28, Tim Taylor, has also moved by the 63 car. So early trouble belongs to Pyle, who's backing up a little bit. There's the battle at the front. Spaw tucks in right under the spoiler of Mike Garvey under the straightaway.
Looks like Johnny Spaw has a great car right at the moment, right along in 2nd. You're looking back out of the back part of Mike Garvey's car. You see Spaw closing up as they enter the corner, but Mike Garvey getting off the corner quite a bit better.
Spaw's had what everyone would concede is a disappointing season. Only 1 top 10 run so far, and there's Pyle caught in the high groove. He just doesn't look like he's got much handling as he keeps backing up.
No, and Kevin Sawinski in the 21 got by him as he went high there. You see Johnny Sauter right now not moving up the way he thought he would. He's making some headway, though. Mike Eddy in the yellow car there, boy, you know he's a bulldog when he gets in heavy traffic.
26-year-old Tim Taylor out of Indianapolis in car number 28. Started in 12th position. He has climbed already to 5th. He is on a mission in the early going.
Indianapolis during the week, and I tell he's a very good race car driver. Look at this move right here. Scott Hansen in the number 5, that white and red car there, moving towards the front also.
He's working on Stewart in the immediate vicinity, and also Mike Eddy is hanging around. Hansen just moved up into the 14th spot, now trying to track down the veteran Mike Eddy. The Myers car, now the yellow one just in front of him. There's the battle. Meantime, on the hip there, we have St. Amant and Sauter. That's a fight for the 11th spot in this race. Sauter on the high groove, the blue number 9 against number 7.
Number 7 there, Gary St. Amant. You can see the rotors on the brakes already starting to glow. This racetrack is horrible on brakes. Long straightaways, tight corners.
This is all for position 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 at issue. Johnny Sauter to the outside, and there is Mr. Sauter, Jim Sauter, the dad, who is on hand. Has been around ASA lately. Not happy right now, I suppose. Johnny started well back in the field. He's got a long way to go, but he's come from deeper than he started tonight to win a race this year.
Started 16th in Nashville, Tennessee, and ended up winning the race. He's very patient for a young man that's 23 years old.
Number 94 in that mix right there, holding on to position in the 10th spot. That is Paul Payne from Mound, Minnesota. Has 3 races in ASA under his belt so far this year. Hasn't really been near the top 5, but right now running real well against Gary St. Amant and the rest of them. Let's go downstairs to Bob Dillner.
Well, we're down here in the AP Plasma pit with Jim Sauter, Johnny's dad, and he's struggling a little bit right now in traffic, Jim, but how do you think things are going to go here tonight?
He's going to be all right. He's got a good race car. He's got to keep all the fenders on it for a while.
You got to be pretty proud of him with what he's done here this year.
Doing a great job.
He is now trying to move against Mr. Payne, and Mike Eddy trying to come along. You see the two of them sort of in single file, almost like they're working a little bit together.
And Johnny Sauter's car works extremely well on the bottom. As he goes by Payne there, you can see the 94, the Payne as he drops back, and Mike Eddy moves in on the quarter panel.
So Payne now has the 12th spot, Eddy has 13th, and Sauter's up to 11th. St. Amant filtered through into the 10th spot just a moment ago. And there goes Mike Eddy as he moves through Payne as well. So the 3 of the regulars have finally worked his way through. Little bump in early. Oh my goodness.
I tell you, he's very lucky. If Johnny Sauter didn't bend the toe in a little bit on that car, that was a hard hit on the right front corner there. Hopefully he didn't do any suspension damage, but he hit very hard.
At the point, Mike Garvey continues to move along at the lead. He is just a car length or so in front of Johnny Spa. Look at all those sparks.
Yeah, and that's the brakes you see that are glowing like that. We told you this racetrack is notorious to run drivers out of brakes. You have to use a lot of patience here. And some of the guys in heavy traffic are telling me they're going to downshift to save the brakes just a little bit.
83, Joey Clanton has worked his way into the 4th position in the race. He started in 14th. It's Garvey, Spa, Cope, Clanton, and Sawinski in the top 5. Clanton filtered right through toward the top 5 and is in it now. He's in the fight. He said earlier today he came here, he got all kinds of trouble, and the yellow flag will be displayed immediately.
The 14 down there, that's Malik from Wisconsin here in the 14 car. He's down on the inside barrier there.
Tim Schmidt, number 99, I think he was involved. The 29 machine of Francesco Gaudesi was involved, and as Buddy said, Doug Malik from Green Bay, Wisconsin, there is his car. Also, the number 55 car, Greg Williams from Hubstead, Indiana, was involved. As we take a look at what happened.
Boy,
Gaudesi stuck up on the track. Malik has gotten going.
And the car looks pretty good. That's Francesco Gardesi there with the left front corner torn off.
So the yellow comes out on lap number 21 of 300 at Madison International Raceway. Mike Garvey, working with his 2nd pole position of the year, has been the leader since the beginning. He's followed at the moment by Johnny Spa, Mike Cope, Joey Clanton, and Kevin Sawinski. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Madison International Speedway, still under the yellow. 1 lap to go, we do believe, as they have all of the cars away from the scene. A few have been into the pits for quick adjustments, fuel ups, and so on, but none of the contenders. At the point, it is Mike Garvey on leader lap number 26 behind the pace vehicle, the GM Trailblazer, followed by Spa, Cope, Clanton, and Sawinski. Taylor, Pyle, Miller, Mike Miller, number 18, Johnny Sauter in 9th, and Gary St. Amant, last year's winner of this race, rounding out the top 10. Still waiting for the officials to declare the track race ready. A great move forward by Joey Clanton, Buddy Baker. That was just important. Let's go down to Bob Dillner.
I'm down here in the AP Plasma pit right now and just talked to crew chief Joe Shear. He told me he doesn't think that knock on the right front did much to the car. Johnny radioed in and said it was a little bit shaky, but it's fine right now. They're going to keep an eye on that car the rest of this race, but so far A-OK for the number 9 car.
Talking about Joey Clanton in the 83 there, he's moved right up to the front. He's got a positive attitude, a new attitude that he's working on in this race. I tell you one thing, he's definitely going to the front.
Well, he came here with fire in his eye. There is no question about that as we go back to green. And a 4-car clutch right at the front. Down to the inside. Spa wants a move. Can he get there? No, not in turn 3 and
right
4.
on this quarter panel, though. He's not giving ground. The second place runner, Johnny Spa there in the yellow car, really doing a great job.
Wider on the exit was Joey Clanton. You can see him a half lane higher on the racetrack. Let's see if he can make that work for himself as he comes off the corner. That's Kevin Sawinski, number 21, breathing down his neck from the back.
Boy, I mean, a bullet able to run down below the yellow line on the bottom part of the racetrack, and Cope making a run at second place now.
Mike Garvey in the Tecumseh Chevrolet, really so far, I mean, he hasn't walked away from anybody, but he's been in control. And there's Cope looking down to the inside of Spa.
Mike Cope trying to make a move. Johnny Spa just drove it down in the corner extremely hard. The contest right now is just behind them there. Clanton behind the 25 there as they head down in the corner. Yellow flag on the racetrack.
Another yellow, the second of the evening as we conclude leader lap number 30. 10% of the race has been concluded. Turn number 3, debris has been detected. That's why they slowed them down. And there's a good look at Gary St. Amant, who right now runs in the 10th position. Last year, he was the winner of this race. And you know, when the St. Amants decided to go racing, they really meant it. They committed all their energy to the exercise.
Family's the number one thing that is important in my life.
It really became a family affair because my wife and my daughter and Gary and, you know, our dog and everybody went. You know, we just loaded up in the camper and went to the races.
We always took him to the races from when he was able to stand up, and he would sit and watch them.
Growing up, I was always into numbers, and I thought that I was going to be a CPA.
We were both kind of really shocked because Gary had really not shown any interest at all, that he wanted to drive.
Having your son drive is a little bit different.
I'm very proud as a mother and as a fan of Gary's.
He's really the only one that I watch.
I think about where I'm at now, and I know where I came from. You know, my mom and dad, they're the ones that have made me who I am. You know, and I think that's probably the biggest reason why, you know, I think about racing and family together, because racing is our life.
Ain't nobody Baker. I just discovered something Gary and I have in common, because I spent a great deal of my youth with my finger down my throat. Let's go down to Bob Dillner.
Well, we are down here with Bud St. Amant, Gary's dad, and we just ran a piece on your son, and he said you guys are such a big part of his life, big part of his racing, and you're the reason why he's done so well in this ASA competition.
Well, I don't know if that's all of it. You know, he's really got a good team now, and we've helped him get to where he's at, but these guys have done an awesome job for him. So, you know, they just took over where we left off. Struggling
a little bit in the middle of the pack right now, though, Bud.
Yeah, you know, it's early, and you got to have some breaks at the end of this race, so he's just being pretty conservative right now.
Gary always says he rides around for about 250 laps and then races for the last 50, guys.
He right now runs in the 9th position. Number 25, Mike Cope, is running in the 3rd spot in the serial. There you see him in the blue, number 25, with the sponsorship from Mannheim's Florida Auto Auction. Let's go downstairs with Bob Gerald.
And here is Ken Lund, who makes the decisions on the car, number 25. Your best starting position here tonight, how much will that help you guys?
Well, it's going to be huge for us. Mike's qualifying has gotten a lot better. You know, the team is so much more upbeat. Starting up front, you don't have to pass all those cars, you know, coming from the back. And he's doing a great job. You know, Mannheim Auction, Monte Carlo, Vortec Engine is doing great. We're looking for a good race tonight.
Is he saying anything right now? Because it looks like maybe the 38 spa is holding him up a little.
We're looking to get around to 38 here pretty soon. We're hoping to do that. You know, it's early yet. We don't want to use the car up too much, so we'll be okay.
All right, Buddy Baker, I bet that's very hard to be patient as an aggressive driver like Cope is. He's been all over the backside of the 38, and he knows he's got Joey Clanton breathing down his neck.
Yeah, but he's a short track specialist, and let me tell you, if that car will go, he'll take it to the front. Mike Cope is one of my favorites to watch on race day because he never lets the grass grow underneath that car. He's always on charge towards the front.
Well, the Vortec-powered GM Trailblazer has turned off the lights and is pulling away from Mike Garvey. He will lead them back around through 3 and 4, and they'll all drop the hammer and go at it again. Now, that short spurt a moment ago, Buddy Baker, Garvey looked like he was about to drive away from everybody. He's got a good race car right now.
Got a great race car, and he's one of those cars that's doing a little downshifting when he gets in heavy traffic to save his brake. Taking care of the car, but lightning fast, the #1 of Mike Garvey.
In turn 1 and 2, there's Cope on the high side, and he's taking a peek around Spa onto the straightaway. Long straightaway. Look how long they're on it before they turn in.
That's hero material right there. Mike Cope trying on the outside, and the preferred line is right around the bottom, but Cope is really making a charge toward the front, and you can see the 38, Johnny Spa, losing position after position right now, unable to keep up with the front leaders.
And it looks as though Joey Clanton's got his measure as well, as Clanton storms by into 3rd. Now Spa's problem is holding off Kevin Sawinski, who last year finished 2nd in this race, and still closing from 9th position, last year's champion, Gary St. Amand. We're going to keep an eagle eye out for him. Mike Miller and Butch Miller run 13th and 14th. Butch Miller, number 52, has won in this event before, but he had to come from 21st. He's already up to 14th. 10th place is at issue Mike Eddy, number 11, and Payne, number 94, and they are right there side by side. That's Gary St. Amand at 9th right now, occupied with holding off Mike Eddy, and Eddy got by him, so the position belongs to him as Gary moves back just a little bit. Also in there is Jody Sauter.
Yeah, I'll guarantee you the 9 car did not hurt his car a while ago, but he's got a mirror full of the 11 car there. You see Mike Eddy, anytime you look in the mirror, that's a very, very intimidating sight to see that number 11 on that rear quarter panel.
And the number 11 looked in practice and qualifying to a large degree like it was on rails. In fact, when we saw his qualifying speed and time that was only good for 13th, I think we were both a little surprised because it looked so good.
Oh, he says he has a great race setup, did not have a qualifying setup, and today was a little different. It was the one-day show, so you didn't have the luxury of setting the car up just for qualifying. You had to use your race setup.
And they all, and many of them did it just that way, including those at the front. Mike Garvey, look at the pressure there. Cope is 2nd, then Clanton, and Sawinski, as they've all filtered through Johnny Spa since the restart. Number 43 is the lap count right now. Bob Dillner is in the pits. Bob Dillner.
Von Sussen, the crew chief for Mike Garvey. How's things going so far? Big difference from when you qualified to right now.
Yeah, we were pretty bad in practice. Had a little bit of a wreck. We got involved in, made some major changes for qualifying the car. Put it on the pole. So we're a little bit loose now. Just trying to take care of the brakes. They're going to be a big factor at the end of the race there.
Well, guys, major changes. That's an understatement.
Whoa. Did you see Mike Cope? He got really wide off, too.
Yeah,
Nearly
but
brushed the wall.
Kevin Sawinski just went by the 83 there, Joey Clanton. I thought he might have the fastest car on the racetrack, but Kevin Sawinski absolutely flying around here in that number 21 car.
Texas Roadhouse Chevrolet finished 2nd last year, now running 3rd, trying to track down Cope and his teammate. Garvey is still on the point as we approach lap 46. Cope, Sawinski, Clanton, and Spa round out the top 5. This is the Wisconsin 300 at Madison International Raceway. We will be back in just a moment. Stay right there. We have one of the fights of the year unfolding at the front between Mike Garvey and Kevin Sawinski, Joey Clanton, Mike Cope. All 4 of them nose to tail at the moment. They've spent most of the time that we were gone side by side. Sawinski had a terrific run against Garvey, then traffic bottled him up and he had to drop back, but now he's coming back, buddy.
Sawinski going to the outside, the tough way around. Mike Garvey holding the bottom side of the racetrack, but Kevin Sawinski's car, I don't believe they can hold him back. That car is lightning fast, and he's changing gears, going into the corner to help save the brake, and you really running this racetrack like a road course. He told me, he said, don't say anything until the race starts, please. We don't want anybody else to know what we're doing. I lived up to my part, Kevin.
Okay, and he has the lead as we get the explanation about the road racing gearbox and how it's being used to advantage by Kevin Sawinski here tonight. We listen to the Mike Garvin. We have the 30 car of Travis Kittleson has turned around and is stopped on the track. So our third yellow of the evening will come out, but not before Kevin Sawinski takes the point. Bob Dillner.
Well, we're down here in the Texas Roadhouse pit, and that was quite a battle between the two LeFevre Racing teammates. Mike Chaffee, when they were side by side, he's the crew chief for Kevin Sawinski. He was shaking his head, saying, come on, Kevin, go. Shane Tesh, the tire changer for the one Tecumseh team, ran down here and said, listen, Kevin is much, much faster. Tell him to go by Mike on the outside. So the LeFevre Racing teammates cooperated with one another, and now Kevin Sawinski is in the lead over Mike Garvin.
And he did it on no uncertain terms, and I'm not sure he needed that help to get around. He was on a rail.
I agree with you, Chris. I'm watching the car, and I mean, he just came up through the crowd there. He started way back and just drove by everybody.
Johnny Spa is still holding on to a top 5 position, running in the 5th spot. Let's go to Bob Jarrell.
And we're down here with Johnny's brother, Ray Spa, who turns the wrenches on the 38 machine. You guys started out like a house of fire, and now the big dogs are starting to come to the front here. Are you worried at all that you're sliding back?
No, the car, he just got trapped there in the bottom. Had to let Cope go. The car's handling really good. He's just going to sit back and be patient and just try and get a good finish. He says the car is good. We're just going to wait it out. Just hang in there and do the best we can.
As far as pit strategy goes for this one today, what was your game plan coming in?
We really don't have a game plan. Just whatever he feels in the car. We'll come in for tires when he feels like it, and just see how the race goes.
All right, I don't know if he was getting a little traffic there in his ear or if there wasn't a game plan, guys.
Well, Ray Spa works very, very hard, keeps a regular job, and as soon as he gets off every day, he goes to the race shop and works on Johnny Spa's car. A lot of time spent in the shop by this guy, 8-9 hours every day.
A lot of the non-contenders or non-top 10 runners are coming into the pits, including Jason Schuler. Now, he started in 4th spot, ran well in the early laps, and then he was shuffled back to 17th because of an early pit stop. But he does indeed have enormous local knowledge.
This name may not be familiar to ASA competitors, but it is to competitors in the short track wars. Jason Schuler, you've won a bunch of races here at Madison. How are you going to stack up against these ASA boys?
Well, earlier in the day, I had a lot of confidence, and the car pretty much got murdered in the second practice session there. But I think we got back together, and hopefully we can get this Weaver Auto Parts car up front and put on a good show for the fans. I mean, we'll give it our best. I mean, we kind of just scrambled to get all the parts and pieces, put her back together, but we'll make the best of it.
Well, Jason Schuler knows this track like the back of his hand. He won a big 250-lap race here last year.
Well, he's got his work cut out for him to climb back toward the top 10. You know, he looked really solid in the early going, Buddy Baker, but now he's had some trouble and has to fight his way back. We're working leader lap number 54, and it's under the yellow. 34 cars just a while ago took the green flag. We had a nice opening stint with Mike Garvey on the point, leading Johnny Spa away from the line. They maintained that relative position for a while. Meantime, the best fights were a little deeper in the field. Johnny Sauter against Paul Payne, number 9 against number 94. Finally, Sauter was able to get through. Johnny Sauter trying to fight his way at that point into the top 10. 5 cars involved in this pileup that brought out the evening's first yellow flag. None of them had to retire once they unscrambled it and picked up all the pieces. On lap number 27, still Garvey in front with Johnny Spa chasing him from the second position. The top 3 late in that 50-lap segment, number 1, number 25, number 83 as they got by Spa after a restart. That was Mike Garvey, Mike Cope, and number 83, Joey Clanton. Number 21, Sawinski, was on the move at the point. He now leads as we are still under the yellow. And let's look, Buddy Baker, at how he got there.
Kevin Sawinski swings to the outside there, going down into turn 1. And this teammate did back off. Bob Dillner, you were correct. He backed off. You can see the 21 there. Sawinski just taking the high side and motoring by.
And now we have the green flag, and look at Joey Clanton move to the outside, Cope up on the high side, again trying to take a run at the front three. Clanton on the move. Is he going to try Sawinski on the high side in the corner?
Well, he's watched it work for other cars, but Mike Garvey trying to close him off there on the inside. I will tell you that 83 right now, Joey Clanton, is strong.
And he is slid into the second position as they go into the back straightaway. Garvey remounts the challenge. The counterattack is underway. Can he get second place back? He squeezed down on the low side in the corner.
Well, Joey Clanton told me he set his car up to run high today. He said everybody else is hugging the bottom of the racetrack. I set my car to run a little bit higher because he does not believe the tires will hold all day long running the bottom part of the racetrack.
Well, he exits higher. We talked earlier in the first 50 laps.
Oh, he got touched there.
And Clanton swings up wide, and he's going to give up the space as Garvey popped him in the panel there, and into second place he goes.
Well, that was just aggressive driving there by Mike Garvey. Didn't need to get into it, but Clanton did close the door a little bit, getting in the corner, and they made contact.
Let's go to Bob Gerald.
And we're down here in the pit of Joey Clanton right now. Gene Roberts has been on the radio talking with Joey right after that. A little bit of a bump there. I know you had some communication with Joey. What'd he say?
Well, the car's good. It's pretty noisy right down there, in this corner, but the car's good. We're trying to be patient. We're trying not to use our brakes. It's a long race, and we'll just have to see what happens.
Was there any damage on the bump?
No, there's nothing. That's just part of this kind of racing. Everything's cool.
All right, everything's cool, huh? A little pop, as Chris said. I like it.
This is a battle for third position. Guess who's there? That's Mike Eddy against Joey Clanton. Clanton has it for the moment by a half a car. This is a great fight as Mike Eddy just jumps in there, buddy.
Mike Eddy, a 7-time national champion in ASA. Let me tell you, he is the guy on this type of racetrack, and he is moving by Clanton on the bottom side of the racetrack. That 11 car was good all day long in practice. Now he's on his way to the front.
He started 13th. He now runs in third if he can hold on to it. Meantime, let's go back to that little bump a moment ago.
Okay, that's a glide part of the racetrack right there. Garvey's right on the wheel, and you can see Clanton come down. That's just racing right there. There was nothing intentional by either car.
Good hard-nosed racing. Joey Clanton, as we mentioned earlier, came here with fire in his eye. He declared earlier today he's going to win this race. Well, he's in position to make a real solid run at it, no question. But Kevin Sawinski at the moment is the man on the point, followed by Garvey, Eddy, Clanton, and Cope in the top 5. This is round 15 of 20 of the $6 million ASA AC-Delco Racing Series for 2001. Stay there.
We are back live in Madison, Wisconsin. The ASA boys duking it out on a half-mile track, and trouble for Butch Miller. He is on pit road right now, just got in an accident on the track. The leader's coming down pit road right now. Kevin Sawinski in the Texas Roadhouse Chevrolet leads the bunch. Big time trouble for Butch Miller. Bobby Gerald, what do you got?
Mike Eddy has just come in. The Polar Bear is up to second place when he came in this time. They go for right side tires and a full tank of gasoline, and Eddy is back out. He's running strong, continuing his run from Cedar Rapids.
So the first round of pit stops for the contenders is now unfolding. There goes Sauter. There goes Garvey. Mike Cope is off pit road. Robbie Pyle, there's the stop and go man, Fred Mellum. He says go.
And somebody that had a great pit stop, Johnny Sauter, in this car right here, comes out in rotation of fourth out of the guys that stopped.
Let's go back down the stairs to Bob Dillner.
Well, Butch Miller is sitting in the cockpit of his car, and Butch, I know you're not too happy right now, but what happened?
Well, I really don't know. A couple cars got together, and I'd committed myself to the outside. I couldn't get back down to miss it.
Just a tough racing break for Butch Miller. They pitted under the last caution, and I asked crew chief Chip Caputo, why pit so early? He said the car wasn't too good. It had a big push. They needed to come in. They pitted 9 times here last year, finished 5th. They will not have a top 5 run here today.
Okay, let's reset the situation. The 4th yellow of the evening came out when Butch Miller and the number 28 machine of Tim Taylor were pinned in turn number 4 side by side and stopped on the track. Both suffered damage. Taylor's car at least as serious as Butch Miller's car. Meantime, the first round of pit stops unfolded. We'll wait for that to all settle out and give you all of the standings. You're taking a look there at Chad Wood, who is running outside of the top 15, in fact in 21st position at the moment. He has a new sponsor, and Bob Gerald checked with him earlier in the day about that.
Local driver Chad Wood brings a wealth of experience here to Madison International. He's from Madison, Wisconsin, and so, Chad, I've got to think that the home cooking's really going to help you today.
Yeah, I would sure hope so. You know, we used to run here quite a bit, and this is a real tough track to get around, so hopefully being here and being from here, we'll be able to run real well tonight.
We noticed a new sponsor on the side of the number 2 car.
Yeah, Go Tents came on board for this weekend, and as you can see, the tent behind us is a new idea, and hopefully we can keep them on for the rest of the season and next year.
Chris and Buddy, I got to tell you, I think this is about the coolest thing I've seen in some time, and I'm just wondering, why didn't they have these things when I was a kid? You get in here and do a little playing, you know what I'm saying? I got my helmet. I'm ready to go racing.
That's a door opening I can get in and out of without any trouble.
Yeah, and those will be very popular around racetracks, is my guess. Let's take a look at the field. We have Jason Schuler is right up near the top, then Rick Nelson, number 76. A lot of these positions created by the fact that the earlier contenders have gone into the pits. Keep lap 83 in mind. That's when the first round of pit stops for fuel and right side tires for just about everybody took place. That will be important later. We have just returned to green flag action at Madison, and we have on the point Rick Nelson, number 76, followed by number 50, Chris Purdy. These people stayed out. Matt Sealski's third, then Smith in the 4th spot, but Joey Clanton now is filtering his way up through there. He is in front of the contenders in a packed nose to tail just behind that front 3, buddy.
That yellow car there, Joey Clanton, right on the bottom of the racetrack. He's breaking through this traffic a lot better than the guys that came out of the pits with him, and he's moving to the outside right now, trying to move up in position as he comes off the corner there.
Since the restart, 2.5 laps, Clanton has climbed up into the 3rd position. Number 21, Kevin Sawinski, who earlier led in the Texas Roadhouse Chevrolet, is in 4th. Then Purdy, number 50, is shuffled back to 5th. Mike Eddy, who's also led this race, is in 6th. And now down to the inside, there's Clanton taking a look at the 2 that are left at the point, and Matt Sealski has gone to the front.
And he better hurry. Just behind him there in the 21, Kevin Sawinski. We know how fast he is. And the 11 car there, Mike Eddy making a charge to the front also. So Clanton better get going right now because he's got competition coming.
So several of those folks, Rick Nelson and the others we mentioned that were at the front on the restart, they just don't have the race cars these other people do. But they had a little bit of a moment in the sun. At least they're up there racing with them, although eventually they're going to yield those spots. Clanton now has Sealski to come to terms with. Matt Sealski leading this race. The youngster from out North Carolina way these days, trying to hang on. And there goes Kevin Sawinski by Rick Nelson. Here comes Eddie.
Rick Nelson's won races here. Then he's driving that 76 very well on very old tires, but you can see what a disadvantage he has. After a couple of laps, the leaders are just driving off into the sunset here. Matt Sealski, though, in the 10 car there, fighting very hard to keep Joey Clanton behind.
Well, he's a little closer in class to those that are pursuing him at the moment. He hasn't had a great rewarding season, but he's had his moments within it where he showed he could drive the car. Now Clanton gets a run down to the inside, swings it back up a half lane or so, and storms through to the front. He didn't have to go all the way to the bottom to do it. That was a nice move.
Matt Sealski in the 10 car doing quite well there, hanging on, but he's got so many good race cars that are on fresh rubber now after the pit stop, and they're driving the wheels off these cars. The 21 there, Kevin Sawinski, the fastest car, or was the quickest car before the pit stop.
And also, number 11, Mike Eddy, showed us a little bit of race speed as well prior to that last yellow. There they are, nose to tail. Now they're in 3rd and 4th at the moment. Mike Garvey, the man on pole, is back in 6th. Johnny Sauter is up to the 5th spot and running fairly alone at the moment as he looks up the straightaway.
This is Johnny Sauter going down into turn 3, right on the bottom. You can see he's gaining on these cars just in front of him.
And Eddie just went by Sawinski on the bottom. Let's go down to Bob Dillner.
Well, you guys are right. Here comes Johnny once again, but he got some big help from his pit crew on that pit stop. Bob Dominichek, you guys had a dynamite stop to help him out.
Yeah, we got a great group of guys here. I'm really pleased to work with all of them. Our tire changers, Joe Sheeran, Joe Zawinski are fantastic. Tire carriers, and Dennis Moore, our robo-dump gas man. And we work real hard in practice and try to do the best we can for Johnny.
Bob is the jack man for the number 9 team. They gained 5 spots on that pit stop. And you know what? Joey Clanton, the reason why he's way out front, he also had a dynamite pit stop, beat everybody off of pit road, guys.
Great work by several teams down there, Buddy Baker. You noticed the Sauter one most particularly right at the beginning of it, and we'd have him sideways in the corner once again. Chris Purdy is involved there, and I think the 33 of Craig Stewart might have been the other one. The number was frankly masked, and I couldn't. Yeah, there he is, pulling away from the scene. It didn't look like they hurt the cars too much, but the two of them did get together.
Chris Purdy in the 50 there. The car's not moving at all right at the moment. Sitting up on the high side of the racetrack. Now he's got her fired up and ready to go again.
So we slow him down for the 5th time in the event. Joey Clanton is the race leader, followed by Mike Eddy and Kevin Sawinski. We're on leader lap 102. What happened between 50 and 100? Well, we had Kevin Sawinski move up and beyond his teammate in the Tecumseh Chevrolet as he went by Mike Garvey. Little contact here, big bump as Joey Clanton was trying to get around Garvey. Good racing, good hard racing. That's what happens sometimes. Mike Eddy going by the #1 machine of Garvey for position 2. Butch Miller into the pits as they try to fix it after he got tangled up with number 28 Tim Taylor. Back to green we go. Number 76 Rick Wilson, the leader on the restart, but number 83 Joey Clanton was on the move. He has gotten through to the front past Matt Sealski a few moments ago, and that's where we stand once again under the yellow. So Clanton is the leader. We're going to get a couple of more pit stops. As you can see, some of them have pulled down to the left, but there is a full field summary. There's Eddy, then Sawinski. Nelson's hanging in there. Matt Sealski still in the top 5. Then Johnny Sauter running 6th. Mike Garvey and Mike Cope, good run going for him. Gary St. Amant won it last year in this event. Robbie Pyle hanging on to the top 10 after handling difficulties early. Johnny Spa was up with the contenders. He's got a fight on his hands to get back there now. Chris Wimmer, 17th place. And a look at all of the others. Craig Smith had some contact with number 33, Craig Stewart, a little while ago. The two of them were able to straighten it out and get moving in the right direction. But just a moment ago, Stewart got tangled up again. So there they are on leader lap 104. We're in Madison, Wisconsin. 1/3 of the race is done. We got a lot of race to go. Don't go away. It's a beautiful summer evening in Wisconsin and a huge crowd on hand. Right now they're looking at Joey Clanton as the race leader. He came to Madison 4th in points with 2 wins, but he still was not a happy man.
Joey Clanton is one of those hot new young guns in ASA. He's won 2 races already this year, and he's in the thick of the points championship, but he hasn't won in a while. So, Joey, you say this race, you have an all-new attitude. What is it?
Well, we're going to go out and win this race. I want this race just as bad as everybody else in the crew does, and you know, just about more than anybody else on the whole racetrack. And we're going to go out and win it and do what we have to do to win it. If it takes, you know, whatever it takes, it's what we're going to come down to and do it.
Buddy Baker, that's exactly what you told him. Joey says it's no holds barred from here on out.
And nobody's told Mike Eddy about that either, as he looks to the inside of Clanton there, has the preferred line as they rocket up out of the corner, side by side, down the front straightaway.
Into the corner. Does Joey Clanton have the preferred line? He's been able to run a half lane or more higher. Oh, he slides the back end around. That'll cost him.
Just that little flip there was about a half a car length, but he does have a great car on the high side of the racetrack. You can see Mike Eddy giving him racing room. That's one nice thing about Mike Eddy. Everybody out there respects him because he's a great driver, but he does not just knock you out of the way, as you can see here.
And Clanton still continuing to hold him off. Now we jump on board with Johnny Sauter, the points leader, 7-time winner in this season, and he's in that group of 4 cars at the front.
And Johnny Sauter needs a horn on that car because he's right back flying like we see him every week now, closing in on the 3rd place car. You can see Johnny Sauter, great line up out of the corner. Fast car down the straightaway, but watch him close as they start in the corner here. About 2 car lengths he gained there going in the corner.
And he straightens it up along with the rest of them on the straightaway. One thing he has done brilliantly over the last couple of months during the midst of his streak of 5 and 7 victories and so on as he surged to the points lead is think on the racetrack. He just hadn't gotten himself in trouble.
Well, he's from a great racing family, and I will tell you, I talked to his dad today, Jim Sauter, and he told me, he said the first time I put him in a race car, he was so wild that I said, one thing we can do, we can slow him down and he'll be a great driver, but you can't push him if they don't have that instinct.
Joey Clanton has survived the assault of Mike Eddy, at least for the moment. That is not to suggest that that the assault is over. It simply has cooled for a minute.
The polar bear just checking the iceberg right now.
Here he comes again as he moves up alongside, almost door to door, as they move down into the corner, 3 and 4 one more time, and onto the straightaway. Look at this. Does he have the exit? Little wiggle from Joey coming off the turn.
Mike Eddy was second place in our last race at the ASA event. Let me tell you one thing. He's tested every week now to get this car back in front. Ed Howe does a lot of work on this 11 car also. Building the race car itself, he and Mike Eddy did. So this guy is really wanting to get back into winning again.
You're hearing the pit communication and the spotter communication for Joey Clanton as they're coming up as a group on the 29 machine. Francesco Gadese, and everybody sweeps by him almost immediately.
You know, that's what makes Mike Eddy such a great star. He has 57 wins in ASA, but he wants to get back to the top. Once you're there, you hunger for it.
Well, he said after that second place finish, he said, there's finally fun. And it hadn't been fun so far this year for him because he had not been contending very often. Now he is. Obviously, he is contending seriously again in this event.
I would say he's got a big grin on his face right now, and you don't see that often on this guy.
He is having a ball, and again, we see the back end of Joey Clanton's car step out just a little bit halfway through the corner.
Now what they're doing, they're running side by side, and that allows Kevin Sawinski and Johnny Salter to close in a little bit on him.
Both of them running just behind, maintaining their position, and at least to some degree it would appear kind of letting those two finish their business before they go to work. Although Sauter now tucks in behind Sawinski. If the seam opens up, they're going to jump. I'm not going to say that those guys are going to wait.
If Joey Clanton just slips one time on the high side there, that second place is going to be gone. You can see the brake rotors there, cherry red as they head down in the corner, standing up on the brakes, trying to keep that car down and keep it from washing up the racetrack.
Well, we're about 10 laps into this side-by-side duel. We're riding on board with Mike Garvey, who is back in the 5th position and not that far away as we can see. Now, he had big changes on the car just before qualifying, right rear spring and shock both.
And as you notice, the 11 there has the lead now, and he's moving away.
Mike Eddy has finally concluded the duel and has moved to the front. Now Sawinski is going to lock horns with Joey Clanton down to the inside. Maybe he can use some traffic. Is Sawinski through? It looks like he might be.
Sawinski has a great race car after he runs a little bit. I think he's running low air pressures, and he has to run 3 or 4 or 5 laps before the air pressure starts to build up on that 21. But he has a great race car. So does Johnny Sauter in the 9 there, the blue car.
Well, a little while ago, in the midst of a longer green segment, Sawinski was on board a rocket ship, and it looks like it's building back to those proportions one more time as he is by a nose or so running in the 2nd position. Joey Clanton is now running in 3rd, but you can see it is anybody's fight at this point. Let's go downstairs to Bob Gerald.
And we are standing here watching the battle with Jack Long, the car chief for Joey Clanton on number 83. Joey's just drawn back a few spots. Did the brakes get too hot there in that battle with Eddie? What made him drop back there a little?
Well, Zaxby Chevrolet is just a little tight right now. Joey, it was a pretty tight race right there, so he just wanted to back off and just ride for a while. Let them guys go up there and do battle, see what comes out the other end.
Joey said it's no holds barred this weekend. Same thing for the crew?
You bet. That's why we had that fast pit stop. These guys are working overtime, making sure that he stays out front.
All right, Bob Dillner.
Well, the 21 car is pretty aggressive on the racetrack right now. Mike Chaffee, you're the crew chief for Kevin Sawinski. Are you playing a patient waiting game, or are you going for broke here in Madison?
Right now, the Texas Roadhouse car is really, really good. But we're just playing a waiting game now. It's all about keeping brakes on the car at this place, so we're pretty happy to ride around in 2nd right now.
Buddy, you were absolutely right on the 21 car. They were waiting for those pressures to come up, and Mike Chaffee tells me they have a great car on the long run.
You can see that, and that's so important, to be patient enough to make your car work for you. Mike Eddy right there lost a little bit of time to Sawinski as they go through lap traffic.
A couple of bookkeeping things on our race leader, Mike Eddy. We mentioned the second place to Sauter last race at Hawkeye Downs. That was his first podium in 27 consecutive races, so you can imagine how important that was to him as we ride with Johnny Sauter. He led 67 laps at Hawkeye Downs and has led a total of 106 laps in 3 different races so far this year. But right now, he is at the point and somewhat in control in the middle part of the event here at Madison. Excuse me, let's go downstairs to Bob Gerald.
And here's Dave Sensiba working with Mike Eddy in the number 11. Mike has been charging up through the field now. He's looking good. We can see those brakes really glowing. Are there any concerns for you?
No, the brakes are glowing, but he said the pedal's still good. They're cooling off down the front stretch, so right now it's not a big concern.
Boy, Mike wasn't joking when he said you guys had something for the rest of these guys after Cedar Rapids.
Yeah, we got a good car. Hall's been working really hard, and, you know, the team's doing really great.
All right, Dave Sensiba, the crew chief guys, they changed right side tires on their first pit stop. It's the only stop they've made.
Working leader lap number 132. It is Mike Eddy on the point, followed by Kevin Sawinski, then Sauter in third. Joey Clanton still a contender, and so is Mike Garvey. We're at Madison International Speedway. It's the Wisconsin 300. Don't go away. We've got a lot of action before this evening is concluded. Back in Madison, this is the fight for 5th place. Gary St. Amand has it. Garvey is in 6th, and number 5, Scott Hansen, has joined in the fray as well as we ride on board with Mike Garvey.
Yeah, Mike Garvey took off in the first part of this race and just drove away from everybody, but right now he's having a little bit of problem. He's dropping back a little bit. Don't know whether he's using the brakes a little too hard or what, maybe just riding it out. But Scott Hansen definitely catching.
They're swinging by the 30 car. The white car you saw in the mix there was Travis Kittleson. He is lapped to traffic at the moment as we ride with Scott Hansen deep into the corner, and he looks like he might want to go up underneath him. We'll track that as we go back to the front. Mike Eddy, then Sauter, then Sawinski. That is the running order at the moment.
And all those cars are just flaming. You see the brakes as they go down in the corner, just glowing red hot as they head off into the corner. And Johnny Sauter, you can see a little loose off the corner there, but he's moved in the 2nd spot just behind the 11 of Mike Eddy.
So Johnny Sauter soldiering forward from the 11th starting position, working his way into the top 5 very patiently, clearing other contenders in traffic, now running in the 2nd position. And you see that fire under braking in those corners.
Watch them as they go down in the corner here and look at the front rotors on these cars. They look like there's fire under there. Boy, I'll tell you what, that's tough on a brake system to do that.
What are we talking about? 1,500 degrees?
There are the cars out there, I think, that are really taking care of their brakes.
Now here's Gary St. Amand running in the 5th spot. We'll track him into the corner. Take a look down in those wheels there when he applies his brakes.
Well, just a little bit of a glow on the 7 car there, Gary St. Amand, as he's working right now with Joey Clanton on the inside. He probably used a little more brake, but we noticed a while ago very little red on the brake system of the 7 car, Gary St. Amand, and that's why he wins so much.
Bob Dillner.
Well, buddy, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what the Wins team is trying to do right now, is to make those rotors not glow. They want to save the brakes. Bill McGowan is the crew chief, and you're just about the only top team without those rotors glowing, Bill.
Well, Gary's driving style helps the brakes a lot, but we did put some extra ducking on, and right now we're just trying to take it easy on the brakes and wait for the last 50 laps or so.
Well, maybe the last 50 laps, but Gary is certainly moving through the field right now, guys.
He storms past the car of number 10, Matt Sealski, who was up in the lead pack a little while ago. There's Gary St. Amand's crew, who, as a group, the Brain Trust, made that decision to employ the extra ducting plus driving style, which is pointed out as a reason that it helps the brakes.
And I'm looking, he's catching some pretty good race cars right now. He's closing in on the 9 of Johnny Sauter and Kevin Sawinski, and we know they have great race cars. And his, you can see the others look like a fire, and his is just an arm's tent to the brakes as he goes down in the corner.
Well, the last one he dispatched for position was Joey Clanton, the one-time race leader. And Gary St. Amand won this event last year, now is in 4th spot. Now, last year's race, we had 9 lead changes and 5 different drivers were involved in that. So So what we're seeing tonight is not unusual for this racetrack, not by any means.
And Sauter right now, we see him every week. I mean, he looks like he's pretty much out of it in the very first part of the race, but you can see right on the back bumper, the 11. Yes, he goes by lap traffic on the bottom, but he is using the brakes pretty hard, and he's never raced here, so he does not know exactly how to keep the brakes under this car. If he really runs too hard, I would look for him maybe to have a problem with that.
We have Mike Eddy running side by side with lap traffic in the person of number 35, Ricky Bryant, who had to swap a motor completely earlier today and missed the qualifying. And now Eddy and Sauter have gone through. Here comes Sawinski in the third position. St. Amant won't be too far behind. In fact, there he is as the fourth place car comes storming through. Bob Gerald.
Guys, it's been a long day for Ricky Bryant and his crew. Crew Chief Wes Page had to change that motor like you talked about, Chris. It happened in the first couple of laps of the second practice session, and they had not been on the racetrack since that second practice session very earlier today. To make matters worse, Wes Page, the crew chief, his wife Mary, her grandmother passed away, so it has not been a good day for the Washington Apples team.
He continues to soldier on. Number 35, Ricky Bryant from Archdale, North Carolina, rookie in the series at the age of 30. Difficult day, as Bob Gerald described. Now, caution is out in the Speedway, and let's go to Bob Dillner.
Well, we're down here in the infield with Jim Sauter, Johnny's dad, and we've been talking all about Johnny the entire race and how much he has progressed with his patience. Is that the biggest key to his success this year?
I think so, you know, and especially here. This is a hard-braking racetrack, as fast as it is, and I can't say more about it than patience is going to be the key to the big picture here for him.
Definitely the key to the big picture for Jim Sauter. And Johnny just got hired by Richard Childress to go bush racing next year, but he also wants to come back and run some ASA races as well.
Boy, I tell you what, that'll be an awesome combination. And that kid right there is ready for any place that he really wants to go in the racing world. He's there.
Jim Sauter, who we have met a couple of times this evening in 1984, the first time ASA ran here, he won pole and the race. And there's Travis Kittleson, who got sideways in the middle of the corner. That is the reason for this most recent yellow flag. Simple little spin, and now he is down on the infield. Not sure, is he out of the car yet?
Well, they have the hood up on the car, and apparently it must have got some fluids or something on the tire. But you see the crew right there. They're looking for Johnny Sauter right now. They have the board out. That might be just to get somebody to make a turn in the pits, because it wasn't that long ago since they made a pit stop.
There you take a look at all the names, the people that are involved in Johnny Sauter's effort, the support staff that has done such a brilliant job. They've done as well along pit road as he's done in the car, I think, and that combination's tough to beat.
Boy, I tell you, and that's saying a lot, because he's done it all this year. He writes a record book, a new record book every week when he gets in that number 9 car.
Lap 160 is done at the front. We're waiting to see if indeed the contenders do turn in. Mike Eddy has. Here comes Sauter. Here comes Sawinski. St. Amant. The whole kit and caboodle on pit road. Let's go to Bob Gerald.
And Joey Clanton brings in the number 83. Jack Long and the crew going to work. They will change left side tires this time. Also cleaning a little debris off the front of the grill. Very quick stop, Bob Dillner.
Johnny's nephew, Travis Sauter, with the pit signboard. He cleans the grill right now. Joe Zielinski changing the front tires on this car. They are a lightning fast pit crew, and they changed 2 tires. A little problem on the right rear with Joe Shear. Who gets out first? Oh, too close to call, guys.
Well, Kevin Sawinski bails out and goes to the grass. Neither one of them giving an inch as they go up to Fred Mellum. He says, go ahead, figure it out, boys, and they leave side by side. Just behind them, that is Joey Clanton in the Zaxby's car.
Looks like Sawinski won the argument going out of pit road.
Yeah, well, he had maybe a fender or so as they got there into the middle of that corner on pit out. And as they went up to Fred Mellum, he slightly had the advantage. The last 50 laps, that's 100 to 150. It was a big fight at the front. Joey Clanton and Mike Eddy, Kevin Sawinski, and Johnny Sauter looking up there. Took a while to sort all of that out. Then we had Eddy and Joey Clanton at the point. They swapped back and forth a couple of times. Mike Eddy came away with the lead. Johnny Sauter, we ride on board with him in position number 3 as he's climbing through the pack. Going into position 2 as he sweeps by Kevin Sawinski. This for 4th position. Joey Clanton, the victim, is number 7. Gary St. Amant, who had a great race car in that particular segment, came storming through to get the position. Now we're down to lap 163, and we're still under the yellow. Full field rundown. Greg Stewart, Kevin Sawinski. Stewart stayed out during that round of pit stop. The rest of them have been into the pits, and it's shuffled out at least to some degree. A little bit of changing, and we'll let it sort out completely before we get back to the green. But there you see them all. Number 16, Russ Tuttle, in the middle of a good run. Robbie Pyle has been relegated to mid-pack after a reasonable start in the first 100 laps. Doug Malik at 25th position. Ricky Nelson, way back in 26, he once led this race. And Butch Miller out of the event after contact on the race course with Tim Taylor.
Well, Greg Stewart's staying out on the racetrack in a 33 leading right now, but there was a big difference in what people wanted. Some wanted right side and some wanted left.
All right, everybody be ready.
Mike Eddy is in 10th position after that round of pit stop as we're approaching the green flag. One more lap to go, but that pit stop round did not work out too well for him. What happened? Let's take a look. His car is up. They're going for left side tires. And the 94 car of Paul Payne.
Paul Payne has got him where he's got to back up and try to get by him on the outside there. That takes a lot of time, and that cost him track position.
Very, very costly. Now, it was Eddie's own doing. He overshot his own pit. The pits are about 27 feet long here by my measurement, which is unofficial, but it's fairly close. I measured that the other day as we go back to the green. And so it is tight going down there when everybody does a pit stop. And usually somebody's going to get messed up. In this case, it was the number 11. Let's go back down to Bob Jarrell.
Guys, not only did they have problems with Eddie overshooting the pit, but also crew chief Dave Sensiva got a splash of gasoline into the eyes. They're working with him right now, trying to make sure that he's okay. But overall, big disappointment for Mike Eddy on that last pit stop.
Mike Eddy working on Carlson in the number 6 machine, a local driver, Steve Carlson from West Salem, Wisconsin. And that's a fight for position. That's for 8th place in this race. Red car number 6 is Carlson. And buddy, we talk about folks with local knowledge. He's one of them.
Yeah, and everybody told me today, keep an eye on this car because he knows how to win here. Look up here in the front. Kevin Sawinski trying to get by Stewart there on the bottom side. Stewart fighting very hard to hold on. And Johnny Sauter there in the blue car moves in on the bottom side of the racetrack.
So we'll keep an eye on that. One quick note about Carlson as he fights back there with Eddie. He's a 6-time NASCAR Remax Challenge champion and leads the points in that this year. Dave Sensiva, who got the splash just a moment ago, at least his eyes are open. Well, they're a little bloodshot, but...
Well, you see them putting eye drops in there. Boy, I tell you, it's like pouring battery acid in your eyes. There's nothing worse than having that racing fuel in your eyes because it has a lot of things in there to kind of pep the fuel up, and I will tell you, it burns your eyes.
Kevin Sawinski working against number 33, Craig Stewart. That is not a fight for position. It is a fight with the 9 car just behind the 21. Stewart swings wide in the middle of the corner. Sawinski moves by, but Stewart wants to fight with it.
I'm pretty impressed. One thing about Greg Stewart, he's built like a fullback, and I will tell you, you don't just drive up there and drive by him, but as they fight side by side, you can see the crowd really getting up behind them right now because you can't take that preferred line and move out against the wall and get a great run off the corner. And right now, Johnny Sauter's closing in just behind him. You can see right there the 83 car moving in. Everybody's moving towards the front as they fight side by side.
But now they sort it out, and Sawinski is in front. And I apologize, that is a fight for position. Stewart stayed out there. This is leader lap number 173. Sawinski's the leader, then Stewart, then Sauter. That's 1, 2, 3. Let's go to Bob Jarrell.
And guys, the reason that Greg Stewart is out on the racetrack right now is because early in the event, when he first came in, he came in out of sequence because they had a low right front tire. So he pitted out of sequence early in the race. That is the reason that the 33 car stayed out and did not come in last time around.
So he's fighting for position near the front of this field against Sauter, but he cannot hold on to second. And now we have Joey Clanton coming at him.
That's Scott Hansen right there fighting his way right up to the front. Getting married tomorrow, but he's got his foot in the carburetor tonight.
And a little rub there as Clanton pushes by the Stewart car, and they rough finish fires, and there's contact, and they both spin up toward the wall. Stewart is backward. He is struck by Mike Cope, who comes onto the scene and is collected. So Cope has damage to his car. Clanton, maybe the only thing that happened was the rub that got him spinning, and Clanton spun up high, then turned the car and got back in line. But Stewart's going nowhere, at least not very quickly.
Boy, the whole front end of that car just ripped off.
And we're going to have to keep an eye on the number 25 car, Cope, who got collected as a victim of what had already happened up the track. Let's take a look at what happened to start it.
Well, Stewart got in the back of the 83 of Clanton there, and he's just sitting there, and you see Clanton right now trying to get out of there, sitting in the middle part of the racetrack. But watch Stewart right here, just go boom, right into the left rear quarter. Scott Hansen goes to the bottom in the 5 car. Gary St. Amant cuts hard to the left there to go by. And the Polar Bear there in the 11 car up here, you can see Mike Eddy taking the high road around.
But Cope, he spun it on purpose to try and avoid him and just couldn't quite do it. Hit him with the right rear quarter panel. There they go again. Hansen down low. Eddy will go high.
You know, if I'm not mistaken, this isn't the first time these cars have had contact this year. In Nashville, Tennessee, these 2 cars got together also.
There we are. We're watching it from Hansen's car. There they are, dueling. Now they're in the middle of the corner.
Well, you can see right there, he just went in the corner. Greg Stewart drove hard down in the corner, made contact, getting into turn 3.
So Greg Stewart, who was, by virtue of staying out and skipping a pit stop when everybody else went in, got up among the contenders, and then this happens. Now he's leaving with that fender dragging. They may pull him back. We'll come back in just a moment.
Bump and grind of a short track attack. That's what ASA's about. Greg Stewart, the boys working on the front end of that car. Big time trouble for the driver of the Screaming Eagle Motorsports car. Greg sitting in the cockpit right now trying to keep cool while the crew goes to work on the car. Greg, what happened out there on the racetrack?
Well, first I got to apologize to all my guys, man. They worked hard to get me back up front after a flat tire and a bunch of trouble early on in the race. And as you can see, every one of the guys that tried to pass me for the lead, I stayed beside them lap after lap after lap. And then you got that idiot moron, Joey Clanton, that comes through there, and he tries to slam you into the wall on the backstretch, just like he did at Nashville. And I got out of it, but so he wouldn't wreck me, and then I went down in the turn to try to take him out. Ended up messing myself out, but I'll do it every race. If we get fixed, I'll go out there and wreck him again.
Guys, I don't think there's anything more to be said.
Whoa, boy, and I tell you, that's an ongoing thing.
Well, Nashville was their first encounter of the season of any import, and there's what happened that night. And it wasn't over with that particular moment on the racetrack, because just a little while later, after Mr. Stewart had been able to bring it to a stop, here's what he did.
Yeah, and he run out of stuff to throw at him. He thought he already threw his booties at him, and then he threw his cooler at him later on. So these guys, they don't send each other Christmas cards, I can tell you that.
Well, they won't, that's for sure. I know you folks out there have seen that picture a lot of times, and you know what happened in Nashville. But we keep revisiting this story. They keep taking us back to it, and we seem to be somewhat compelled to keep reminding you where this all began, because this has become a full-fledged Hatfield and McCoy feud.
Well, they just don't like each other, and it seems when they get close to each other, problems happen.
Mike Cope is on pit road again. He's been in there a couple of times since the yellow came out. We've also had most of the contenders come in for another pit stop. They're, in some cases, their 3rd round. And you can see if it seems a little dark on a couple of portions of the racetrack, and our pictures are a little less than they were, but some of the lighting has gone away, at least for the moment. Pretty unusual. I don't remember when that's happened, Buddy Baker, but right now it's a little bit difficult for us to view the track. I'm not sure it affects the competitors all that much.
No, I don't think so, and I will tell you, Musco, they're the best as far as lighting a racetrack. It's too bad that happened, but hey, everybody has a problem now and then.
So most of the contenders have been into a pit stop. We are under yellow one more time. We've had another lead change at the front. Garvey is going to be the race leader, and number 33, Greg Stewart from 4 Oaks, North Carolina, has gotten all the loose stuff torn away and the stuff that he needed repaired in the engine compartment, and now is heading back out onto the racetrack. The number 10 machine, that's Matt Sealski out of Northbrook, Illinois. He is running in the top 20, I think he is. Yes, there he is in 19th position. Bob Gerald, do you have something on him?
Well, we're down here at the Joey Clanton pit right now, and you're looking at Gene Roberts, who is the crew chief for the 83 car, standing on top of his tool cart. We just spoke with Gene. Gene said that there wasn't damage to the 83 car. They did change a couple of right side tires after the bump with Stewart, and he said despite the fact that those two have gotten together before, there's no ill will on his part with the Stewart family. He says they're actually close friends, and he just hated to see that happen.
That didn't sound like a close
Yeah,
friend.
I was just fixing to say, I wouldn't like to have an enemy if that was a friendly gesture there.
Well, we have a situation revisited. One fellow who did not go to the pits with the other contenders on that last short round under that yellow is number 94, Paul Payne. He is the race leader, the fellow from Mound, Minnesota, whose best this year in selected runs in ASA was 14th at Hokkaido.
Yes, in Cedar Rapids, he did a nice job there, and he's out front right now. Let me tell you, that's not a bad thing to do. Everybody dives in the pits. He's out there and leading this race and getting a lot of recognition, doing a great job.
Kevin Sawinski, you can see him there in the distance, is in second in the race, but he's 3 cars back, and on his hip is Johnny Sauter, and Scott Hansen is pretty close to them. Number 35 machine you see in the picture, that is Ricky Bryant, who had that engine change earlier today. That's Sauter against Sawinski. We're in Wisconsin at the Wisconsin 300 Madison International Speedway. We've got over 100 laps to go. Come back. Welcome back to Wisconsin, working leader lap 197, nearly 2/3 distance of the race. And it is number 94, Paul Payne, who is still on the point with Kevin Sawinski in second position, followed by Sauter, Hansen, and number 18, Mike Miller. Now, this is a big weekend for Scott Hansen. Does the term matrimonial bliss mean anything to you? Well, it does to him.
Standing next to Scott Hansen, there's the feet, and Scott's getting married tomorrow, so the obvious question, Scott, is, are the feet cold?
No, we're really looking forward to tomorrow. Getting married there tomorrow morning, having a nice party at the shop to Nancy, and we got to get through tonight, though. We got a great race car, and you know, we just got to play it by ear and see what happens.
Now, contrary to popular belief, you haven't raced here a lot, maybe only about a dozen times, despite the fact that you grew up not far from here. Are you worried about something going wrong tonight?
No, you know, racetrack's been pretty good to me. You know, we've been here only a dozen times or so, but won 3-4 times. So the car feels excellent right now. I don't think it's the greatest qualifying, but it feels really, really good for the race. So hopefully we'll be talking to you after the race.
Scott Hansen has the local knowledge.
And he is running in among the contenders. He's in that group, buddy.
Paul Payne's got a lot of pressure right now. You can see Kevin Sawinski in the 21 looking that quarter panel over. These guys have a little fresher tires, and they're going to be able to make the move on Paul Payne. But he did get out there. He led a few laps. But what about Hansen right now? This is the best he's run in quite a while. He's actually trying to pass Sauter on the high side as we're talking. They make contact down the front straightaway.
Tight pack of cars moving through the corners. Positions move around and change a little bit. Paul Payne in the Justice Brothers Distributing Pontiac in his 4th ASA event of the year, still holding on hammer and tong as he's coming back around. Sawinski listed second, then Sauter, Hansen, and Mike Miller as the top 5. The front 4 are running together, among others, some lap traffic involved in all of that. All the way back to Hansen as he takes the inside of the 9 car.
Yeah, and Paul Payne just went on the outside there, and he still got the lead. Sawinski had to back off for lap traffic, and what a great job he's doing. Well, on the old tires, that's almost impossible on short track.
Lap 161 is the last pit stop we have listed for Payne. Then a bunch of the other contenders, those that are around him, came in on lap 179, the next yellow. He stayed out. Now, he has enough tire and fuel to get to the end, but his tires will not be as fresh as we go on as those that are around him.
He's not going to be able to hold these guys off because they're catching him at a pretty brisk clip here as they go around. You can see right now they're being very, very kind to him as they head down in the corner. Sawinski's been up to that quarter panel 3 or 4 times to give him racing room, but the first 10 cars right now are nose to tail.
And now there goes Sawinski. Got a pretty good run off too, it appeared, as we get some of the sparking from the brakes and bottoming as they go into the corners. But Sawinski, who looked like he had a run, unable to get up alongside him.
And Paul Payne just drives it on down in the corner. He said, old tires, I know the racetrack though, guys, and I'm doing a pretty good job up here on old stuff.
He sure is. He gets side by side with Sawinski, or vice versa, and through the corner they go. Now here comes Kevin Sawinski. Does he have the advantage? This is Johnny Sauter's viewpoint, by the way. Pay attention. Ooh, they may have rubbed just a tinge. And we got a lot of movement from the back end of the 21 machine.
Well, I'll tell you right now, the left side of that 94 is going to have a number 21 on it pretty soon because there's so much pressure right now. You got to look in that mirror and realize everybody knows to tail behind you. One slip, you could go from first to 10th.
We're watching from Scott Hansen's car. Now we go outside and we go to Bob General.
And here is J.D. Hansen, who is talking right now with Paul Payne, the leader out there in number 94. How long? You guys are starting to fade back right now, maybe even getting past the 21, just getting past you. How worried are you guys that you'll be able to stay up there?
We'll be able to run with them for a little while. Hopefully we'll get a yellow here soon so that we can get the car and get new rights. We're going to run with them as long as we can.
How far out of the lead or how far out of the pit serial are you guys? You're out there for a long time on those right sides?
We've been out there for about 60 on the rights, not too long on the lefts. We'll go as long as we have to.
All right, Paul Payne getting the job done here, guys.
And heavy contact as Hansen runs in underneath Johnny Sauter, and Hansen to the inside. And I don't know, Sauter may have damaged the car, but I think the heavier damage went to Scott Hansen.
Scott Hansen hit this inside wall right down there and just really whacked it. I mean, he has to have a lot of damage to the right front corner of that car, which he does.
Let's take a look at how it unfolded. They were still in that battle, a four-car fight for the lead. They got alongside Payne, and then Hansen dropped down, and here it comes.
Well, Hansen gets in the back of the 9. Johnny Sauter, he spins in front of Paul Payne, and you can see the 5 car there hitting hard. Gary St. Amant, how in the world he missed that wreck, I'll never know.
One more look at it down the back straightaway. Number 21, Sawinski, is clear and in the lead. And right here in the middle of the corner, there's the bump. There's pit in. The wall jumps out, really, and gets Hansen's front end. He may not be able to continue.
And Johnny Sauter was a little bit loose getting in there. He kind of, but right there's big contact.
Now watch number 18, Mike Miller. How did he get through? Well, he just cranked the wheel to the right. And St. Amant did the same thing, and Mike Eddy did the same thing, and Joey Clanton did the same thing.
Well, Mike Miller actually pushed a little bit there to get through. You'll watch him right here. He goes in there and realizes these guys are going. He makes contact right there on the 5 car and just moves them around and then goes to the high side.
On board with Johnny Sauter, real time. Into the corner. He gets up alongside Hansen. They rub right here.
That's down the back straightaway.
Yep. Now we come to the scene of the crime. There they are, and that's how it looks. Johnny just back end moves out. Now we go over to Hansen's car.
See Scott Hansen right here going down. There's just a little bit of contact there, but Sauter got a little bit loose getting in the corner also.
Bob Gerald.
And here is Scott Hansen. Scott, what happened there?
I don't know. Timmy, I'm sorry about that. Johnny was racing Kevin really hard, and I was racing them, and I knew Mike was going to be into the back of us because he was trying too many times to let anything happen. And when Johnny and I got together, he run into us and turned us around. Just racing. What are you going to do?
There's Scott. He's out of here, and we were just about to ask him if this was going to be a bummer for his wedding, Bob Dillner.
Well, Johnny Sauter brings his AP Plasman Chevrolet onto pit road. The crew were shaking their heads when I came down here, just really aggravated. They don't know if this car has much damage. They're changing right side tires right now, but Johnny is away.
You know, I'm looking at the car. I don't see a great deal of damage whatsoever. It looks like all he did's got some fresh tires right now, but I don't see any body panels at all that are beat up.
Well, he got nudged offline, and there's some of what was left over from it. Some of that's from earlier, I'll guarantee.
Yeah, but you can see the left rear right there had rubbed the quarter panel because you can see tire dust all over that quarter panel.
But whether it affects his performance or did any damage beneath the bodywork, we're just going to have to wait and see as he gets the go sign and returns to the racetrack. One more look at it from on board with Johnny Sauter into the corner. There's the nudge. He goes sideways. Hansen out of the race. Sauter will continue. The rest of them drove around it. let's set the standings. Kevin Sawinski is the man leading on leader lap 216. Then Mike Miller, Santa Monica, Eddie, and Joey Clanton. We'll be back. Laps 150 through 200 of the Wisconsin 300. Well, on lap 159, Travis Kittleson got it sideways. That brought out the 6th caution of the night. Then we saw Mike Eddy, a contender. He'd overshot his pit a little bit. He got blocked in by Paul Payne. Had to go around and cost him significantly on the racetrack and took him out of contention at least for the time being. Meantime, up front, we had Kevin Sawinski passing for the lead against Greg Stewart off the restart. He got through. A little while later, it was Stewart getting into Joey Clanton. The two of them went sideways, and the guy who took the biggest damage right there, his cope spun into it and hit him with the right rear, was the 33 of Stewart. They peeled all that junk away, and he was able to get restarted. When we take a look at what happened as the two of them went up across the racetrack, and 94 Paul Payne was able to drive right on through on the restart. 94 Paul Payne to the front. He led from lap 179 up and to 200 and then a little bit beyond, but it has changed as Kevin Sawinski and Mike Miller and Gary Santamon are the top 3 in the race right now, and we are once again under yellow because of what happened a moment ago involving Johnny Sauter and Scott Hansen. We're on board with Hansen. There goes Sauter by. Buddy, pick up the story.
Well, they go down in the corner, and you see Johnny Sauter slip just a little bit right there, and there was contact. Then they got hit from behind, and that really triggered a 3-car wreck there that, boy, I tell you what, Johnny Sauter's got his work cut out for him now. He is way back in the pack.
So let's review the entire field while we do have a moment. After 220 of 300 laps, Kevin Sawinski on the point, trying to improve on last year's second-place finish at this track in this event. Johnny Spa in 9th spot. He was up among the leaders in the earlier going, trying to get back there. Sauter down to the 13th position after the contact. John Silverthorne, he was in the top 5 a little while ago. One of his better nights this year. Scott Hansen, you see where he'll finish. The rest of these people have been back there through most of it, although Rick Nelson, by staying out and playing track position, did get out there earlier on. And Butch Miller was an early retirement from the event. We have had 17 lead changes among 8 drivers already.
Look at the oil dry down in turn 4 right there. Let me tell you something. It gets rid of the oil, but it also is slick when you start back on the restart.
Well, we thought it would be volatile at the point last year. There were 9 lead changes among 5 drivers. Tonight, 17 changes among 8 drivers. This is a beauty. Don't go away. Welcome back to Central Wisconsin. You see the lights are ablaze again in their full splendor. The official lighting provider to TNN Sports in this telecast is Musco. Musco, the leader in sports lighting. And right now, Buddy Baker, those lights are illuminating some raindrops around this race course.
Oh my, and you can see it right on, on the screen there. Not much, though. Hopefully we'll get this thing underway, because I tell you what, it's been a great race. And so many of the cars have been in incidents, like Joey Clanton is already back up to 5th again. You see Johnny Sauter right there weaving back and forth. Carla's good.
9th is in 13th, and that's not where he wants to be. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
You're definitely right, Chris. Joe Shear is the crew chief for Johnny Sauter. What did Johnny say about that incident, Joe?
Well, he's not very happy with the 5 car. Obviously, they took us out. But the AP Plasma Chevrolet is a pretty good car. We're going to see what we can do here finishing that. They took us out of contention to win, but see if we can get a good finish out of it.
Did the car get hurt in that incident?
I don't think the car got hurt. It's still a pretty good car, and we'll see him come up through the front.
Well, Bobby Gerald, if there's anybody that can drive it to the front, it's certainly Johnny Sauter.
Johnny Sauter has been the man in ASA this year. Let's talk to you now about Dave Sensiba, the crew chief for Mike Eddy in the number 11 car that got the gasoline splashed up into his eye. Dave is okay. He's given us an okay signal. He is back standing on top of the pit cart and barking out directions right now, or at least maybe you don't bark out directions to the polar bear, Mike Eddy. Maybe you just have a conversation with him, but that's what Dave's doing. He's back to doing his job here is what we're trying to say, guys.
That would be my story, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you one thing. He's got a neck like a tree stump.
Yeah, you just go ahead and make some suggestions and observations.
Yeah, that would
Let
be
him
the
draw
good
his
thing
own
to do.
conclusions. Something along those lines. There he is, Mike Eddy, who is running in the 4th position. Gary St. Amant just ahead of him, then Mike Miller in 2nd, and Kevin Sawinski in the lead position.
But
so
Joey,
that's Go ahead.
Joey Clanton looked like he was totally out of it, and he fought his way all the way back into the top 5 now. Great drive by him.
Circulating around, there is a lot of oil dry on the course following the last yellow, and there is a little bit of moisture falling from the skies. You know, rivalries have a way of living on. Crime and punishment, well, sometimes a long story.
Remember a couple of weeks ago at Cedar Rapids when the 16 and 09 got together on the racetrack, and then J.C. Beatty in that 09 punted the Conseco Pontiac under caution? Well, J.C. Beatty, he's been put on probation, and there's been a little bit of bad blood between the two. Russ Tuttle, what do you think about the whole deal?
Well, I can't really tell you what I really think about it, but you know, his mommy and daddy bought him a little race car to come out here and race with. Maybe they ought to buy him a Mattel weight set. You know, it's going to be a long year. He needs to bring his A game.
Well, J.C. Beatty, Russ Tuttle is a pretty big guy. I wouldn't want to mess with him.
Yeah, we both weigh the same in the race car, and the guys that work on these race cars know what it's all about. The guys that don't, they don't care, and that's the way it'll always be. And just need to get back to clean racing like I've always tried to do.
Well, look out, guys. If the 09 and 16 cars get together on the racetrack, there could be trouble.
230 laps in, J.C. Beatty runs 21st position, and Russ Tuttle is in the top 10. He is currently listed in the 8th spot, and if he can hang in there or improve, not go back further than 2 positions, he will have his second top 10 run of the 2001 season. The hat's making the rounds. Everybody wants to be a cheesehead. Sawinski in front, trying to pick up a victory. Miller right behind, then St. Amant. The cars continue to circulate beneath the yellow flag at Madison International Speedway. Working leader lap 235 of 300. There's a look at the first 2 cars in the serial. In fact, the first 3, then 4. Sawinski, Miller, St. Amant, Eddy, and Clanton. Let's consider the points for a moment. This is before the race began. These are still the points. Johnny Sauter, the leader, but he is well down in the standings in 13th now after the touch. Gary St. Amant is in 3rd. Butch Miller is out of the race. He will not score significantly tonight. Joey Clanton is in 5th place. He has a chance to score some significant points. So does Kevin Sawinski, who leads. So we could compress this title chase before this evening is done. Number 18, Mike Miller. He had a terrific run in qualifying. He started in 3rd, and now he is in the 2nd position in the race. Let's go downstairs to Bob Dillner.
Well, guys, we're down here with Mr. Cheesy, Carl Hyland, crew chief for Mike Miller. You know, Mike used to live in Wisconsin. You guys haven't won in over a year, so what is that? Is that a little good luck charm?
I hope it's a good luck charm. You know, maybe it's a rainmaker or something here, Bob. You never know. But for the Vortex-powered Jenny King Pontiac, you know, maybe this thing will bring us some good luck. It sure would be nice to bring that Pontiac home first tonight, no doubt.
Well, Mike Miller is looking pretty cheesy right now. The guy just behind him, Gary St. Amant, if you look at the hood of that number 7 Wins car, it's kind of buckled up a little bit. He got involved in the accident with Scott Hansen and Johnny Sauter, but Bill McGowan, the crew chief, says they think the hood pins just got moved back a little bit. No problems for that 7 car and Gary St. Amant.
Well, the one thing you always have to worry about, it did take a pretty good lick to the nose section, and that's a lot of aluminum in there that actually cools the radiator, so hopefully it didn't mash it all up in there and create a problem on the heating system on this car.
One thing we can count on, he is not going to pull out a line.
No, you can bet on that one.
Well, running in 6th position, number 63, Robbie Pyle. Now, last year, he was on pole in this event, but didn't get through the first corner before a big melee was touched off, partly some of his doing. Let's go downstairs to Bob Gerald with more on the theme.
And Bob Cumbo is the crew chief for Robbie Pyle. And Bob, right now, started 6th, running 6th. A lot better than last year when you had the first lap incident.
Yeah, we waited a year to come back here and race. Wasn't very good last year. We're doing all right tonight. Been a little tight all night. Last pit stop, finally, we've been able to get the car to pivot for him. Feels pretty good.
Now, your crew guys are telling me that you haven't been getting much sleep lately. We're looking at your eyes, man. You do look like you're a little tired.
Well, I always look that way.
That's just the way it is. I guess he works that hard. And guys, a quick update on the rain here. The rain had subsided a little bit during that last break, but now it's started to pick up just a little bit, and it's probably the most drops that we've seen here in the last 5 or so minutes.
So they stay out under the yellow, partly concession to the moisture, but also there's a lot of oil dry. There's some of it you can see as the cars move through the corners, and they're trying to pick up and spread out a little bit of that. How about that start last year? Number 63, Robbie Pyle. Well, he wasn't number 63 at the time, but here comes the field. Pyle and Wimmer on the front, Sawinski, St. Amant in the next row. Into the corner they go, and before they exited at the other end, it all broke loose, and there you see it. Pyle and Wimmer and St. Amant, Sawinski, Mike Miller, Tim Sauter, a whole host of them were caught up in that, buddy.
That is Pyle in the 8 there. He goes over the back of Wimmer's car, the 05.
And now he's in the number 63 and having one of his better runs of the season, running in 6th position in this evening's event, right where he started. We're still under yellow. We're at lap 240 of 300 that are scheduled. Sawinski's on the point looking for victory number 2 of the year. Welcome back to Wisconsin, Madison International Speedway. You see the yellow flag being waved over the field and the pace truck about to be dispatched one more time. While we were gone, they went to green. It was raining harder and harder during that time, and things changed at the front. So let me give you the standings real quick. Gary St. Amant drove through the wet pavement right to the front. Mike Eddy went with him. He's in 2nd. Joey Clanton is now in 3rd. Then Robbie Pyle. Then Kevin Sawinski and Mike Miller. That's the top 6. Beneath that, it shuffled all over the place. Some folks able to hold on to the racetrack as it got wetter and wetter, and some just couldn't, buddy.
Well, Kevin Sawinski got completely sideways 2 or 3 laps in a row there. It was raining pretty hard. Now it's starting to slack off again, but I will tell you one thing. Gary St. Amant and the 11 car, Mike Eddy, they didn't care. They stood on the throttle, but you can see pretty heavy rain still.
Yeah, it could become more and more significant as the evening wears on. We are, for the record, on leader lap number 247, back under the yellow. What was it? It was about 4 laps before they brought the yellow back out, maybe as many as 5 while we were gone. And the number 9 machine of Johnny Sauter did not move. He still is in 13th position. He gained nothing. He lost nothing during that bit of racing that we had. Now, Jim Sauter, he is here. He's the dad. He has the same number of victories in ASA as his son.
It's been 2 years since Jim Sauter has attended an ASA race, and Jim, of course, is the father of Johnny Sauter, who has set the world on fire with 7 wins in his rookie season. And Jim, 7 wins, that's the same amount that you won in your entire career.
It makes me sick, I'm telling you. I mean, I spent 4 or 5 years doing this, maybe a little longer. And Johnny's done it in, what, 3-4 months? And in his rookie season.
Are you surprised, or did you know he had that ability?
Well, I knew he had the ability, but you have to have everything that goes along with ability. A good car owner, you need all the good people with Joe Scheer Jr. and all the guys, and Alex Pensino. What can you say? He's got it made.
And it doesn't hurt, guys, that he's got the good genes, too.
And there he is, and look at the water on there. It is really getting wet out there, Buddy Baker. And now the forecast said later in the evening that the possibility of rain existed and that it would continue to accelerate throughout the night. By Saturday, it's supposed to be pretty wet around Wisconsin, and it has started.
And I'm sure he's looking at just in front of him. Scott Wimmer has a tremendous amount of damage to the left front corner of that car just in front of him, hoping nothing falls off of it, might cut a tire down.
Working leader lap under yellow, 2:49. We are on our 9th caution of the evening. And there you see the folks at the point. St. Amant is the race leader. And there's Chris Wimmer, the 05. He's in 12th position and has a little damage there.
Yeah, that's the part of the fender hanging off there, and Johnny Sauter riding right behind him. He don't need any more problems tonight. He's had his share.
So he got together with somebody. I'm not quite sure how that all transpired. It was recently, and it was in the wet. Well, I think we're going to get a look at that here in just a second. As I mentioned, Chris Wimmer in the 12th position. Let's go downstairs to Bob Dillon.
We're down here in the Wins Pit Crew stall, and look at these boys. They're having a grand old time trying to do their little rain dance. That's Bud St. Amant. Jim Duffy, you're the guy that started all this. You pretty much perfected the rain dance.
Well, I kind of took lessons from you, you know, and
me,
what you can do.
I really can't.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah.
How's that? Did I do a good job?
Darren Walter taught us this.
Well, what do you think? You know, Gary's a racer. He would like to run this out, but I'm sure you're probably talking to Mother Nature right now, right?
you know, he'd probably like to win it fair and square, but we'll take him however we can get him, you know.
That's right. Let's practice this again, guys. What do you think up in the booth, buddy, Chris?
Well, from what I could see, if Darrell Walter taught you that, there's 3 people that can't dance.
We try.
And there's Gary St. Amant at the point. Last 50 laps, not terribly eventful, at least in some quarters. Now, there's the contact between Johnny Sauter and Scott Hansen. Hansen picked him off from the back. We go on board with Johnny Sauter. Now, this is the previous pair of turns. Sauter moves on by the 5 car, then
down into turn 3, you're riding with Sauter. Right here, he gets bumped from behind by the 5 car, Scott Hansen, and he got hit from behind by Mike Miller also, so the 3 cars were involved there.
We ride on board now with Scott Hansen. Same incident, back straightaway, into the corner we go. And there's the contact. Around he goes, tags the wall. Hansen out of the race. A little bit of rain falling, but after the cleanup from that accident and the oil dropped on the track by Scott Hansen's car, they did flag it for just a couple of laps. It was long enough for Gary St. Amant to shuffle his way to the front, for Kevin Sawinski to move all the way back to 5th from the lead. Then the yellow came back out. We are now on leader lap 252. The rain does continue to fall, and we are still under that yellow. And some of the fans who gathered, some of the 11,000 or so who jammed the joint, are headed toward the exits as we take a look at the full field summary. I guess the guy who might be the most upset the fact that they went back to the green would be Kevin Sawinski.
Well, I got to tell you, there was 12,000 people here tonight, and they're not leaving. They're just going somewhere to stay dry until this rain quits, because they love their racing here in Wisconsin.
Boy, it is a tremendously enthusiastic crowd. There were 12 drivers from the state of Wisconsin in the qualified field of 34 when they started a little while ago. A lot of local favorites, a lot of great drivers. We'll be back in a minute to Wisconsin. Welcome back to Madison International Speedway. It is round 15 of 20 in the $6 million ASA AC-Delco Racing Series for 2001. You want to see some great racing? This series isn't over for this year. We got a championship to decide, and we've got fewer and fewer events to do it. Next stop, Jennerstown, Pennsylvania. That's next week. Then on Labor Day weekend, the Minnesota State Fair. Traditional stop there. Memphis Motorsports Park, Winchester in Indiana, and IRP to round it out at the end of the season. And after this evening, it appears that the championship is going to be closer than it was when we started tonight. Johnny Sauter is in 13th position. Many of those chasing him, quite obviously, are ahead of him and will outscore him. He's had a terrific run, Buddy Baker. He has a lot of points and a lot of wins, but he doesn't have anything socked away yet.
Not at all. Anytime you have a championship this close, it's not decided yet. And by the way, the rain is lifting just a little bit. They're picking up speed behind the pace truck here, and I think the rain is slowing up a little bit.
Well, that would be good news if they can get a dry lane going around this track. Let's go downstairs with more from Bob Gerald.
And guys, the ASA officials have told the drivers and crews to speed it up a little bit to try to keep the track dry, and we understand that they may be going green here in a few laps. Here's Gene Robertson. St. Amant's guys might be doing a rain dance, but you, as the crew chief for Joey Clanton's number 83, want to see this thing get back started.
Yeah, the car right now, there's a groove that's the upper groove we worked all night. It's still there. It's got a lot of rubber up there, and the water, and with the oil down, with the 5 cars, off turn 4, the track's a little slippery. So actually, the track has come to us right now. So we're in pretty good shape. I don't want anything given to us. I want to run this thing.
Joey Clanton may be able to use that line, but if you take a look at the pit lane down here, there's still quite a bit of water down on the pit lane, and so anybody who is coming in through here for any reason is going to have to be very cautious, guys.
Yeah, and you can see right there, they're covering up the pit stalls with the tarps right now to keep it from getting too wet. And it's really not changed all the way over to wet there. It's got wet spots on it, but it is not that bad.
Gary St. Amant on the point, the number 7 machine, who has a couple of victories already this year, the Wins Chevrolet. He was also the winner on this racetrack here last year. Bob Dillner?
Well, guys, not only are they doing the rain dance down here in the Wins pits, but they're feeling pretty cheesy, too. I don't know what the deal is with this cheesehead thing in Wisconsin. Phyllis Gebben, you're the car owner's wife, and, you know, those guys are doing the rain dance, and you still got the umbrella over your head. What's the deal?
Well, I'm trying to keep the paper dry so I can write the numbers. I told Gary if he doesn't miss the lap, I won't either.
Yeah, but we're under caution now, so why do you have to keep on keeping the numbers?
Because I made a promise.
Phyllis Kevin Hope in the win. Chevrolet gets the victory lane. Gary St. Amant, as you mentioned, Chris, 2 wins already this year. He's hoping for the hat trick.
Johnny Sauter, 57 points, lost to those trying to catch him. That's so far this evening. If it stays the same, but we're getting a green. And look at Mike Eddy move down to the inside against number 7, Gary St. Amant. We're back to speed at Madison International Raceway on leader lap 262.
And Mike Eddy drives hard down in the corner. The man has 149 career podium finishes. I'll tell you one thing, he's putting a lot of pressure on Gary St. Amant. Looking to the inside, down into turn 1. But Gary St. Amant riding that mirror.
Third place belongs to Joey Clanton. Has the track come to him in the second groove from the bottom? We're going to watch his car as we watch this duel at the point. There he is. He closed down on that straightaway and into the corner, buddy. And the fourth place car, Robbie Pyle, number 63, he's lurking right there. Tremendous fight at the front.
Robbie Pyle having a great run in that 63 there. You can see right now moving up on Clanton as they head down in turn 3. Almost had contact as they entered the corner there. Here comes Pyle on the inside.
Against Joey Clanton, this is the fight for third place. 2 cars in front are fighting over the lead at the moment. Pyle stays down on the low side. If everything that the Clanton crew expected to work is working, he shouldn't have much trouble, even though he's up on the higher groove. And right now, he's holding him on.
Well, I think the higher groove may come in, but everybody that was running around out there was running the lower line, and it's a little bit quicker right now than the outside line. But as they go along, Clanton will use that up a little bit, heat that up outside line up, then he can use it.
You can see the countdown underway. The graphic on the upper left of the screen. 35 to go. Working leader lap 266. Gary St. Amant looking for his second consecutive victory at Madison International Raceway. Mike Eddy coming off a second place finish at Cedar Rapids. He joined the series after it began this spring with the new Howe car. He's come to terms with it. They are ready to win, it would appear. There you see Gary St. Amant, people. That is Mike Eddy's crew as well.
That is Sensabaugh, the crew chief there for the 11 car, Mike Eddy, and you can see he's watching him all the way around the racetrack. Dave Sensabaugh is a good race car driver himself.
There's the battle up front. The front 3 pulling away just a little bit from Robbie Pyle now, as Pyle has somewhat lost contact with the number 63. Gary St. Amant's people looking on with great interest. Nothing they can do now. It's all up to the man in the car. Bill McGowan, the crew chief, looking on.
And the reason he's looking on, they can see Mike Eddy taking a look to the inside, taking a look to the outside. He's right on the back bumper. There might be a little bump and run here as we come down, because Mike Eddy definitely wants to win.
Through the corner they go. Rain continues to disappear from the area, thankfully. You see some of the sparks from the brakes as they move through the corner. Mano a mano. Dave Sensabaugh, who took a splash of fuel in the eyes a little bit earlier on, up on the pit cart. Arms folded, very calm at the moment.
Oh, you just know it's going to happen. And lap traffic's just in front of him. Mike Eddy looks to the inside again, inches apart as they go into turn 3. Now coming off the corner, you see him sweep way out on the outside, but lap traffic is going to have something to do with this.
Gary St. Amant's people looking on. Bill McGowan, the crew chief, the owner, Bud Kevin, and his wife, Phyllis.
Wasn't a lot of laughter there.
No.
You notice they are very, very serious. You can see the brake rotors there on Joey Clanton's car just blazing red as he heads down in the corner. But he's moved in now on Mike Eddy.
Working leader lap 274 as they come back to the front under the flag stand. And a little space growing there between St. Amant and Mike Eddy as they pick up a little more traffic coming up on Greg Williams, the number 55 machine. They'll clear him on the high side of the back straightaway. And 3 of the front 4, 2 of them for sure, got through before they got to the corner. Joey Clanton follows through, and Pyle comes along as well. They clear him on the straightaway. 5th place belongs to Sawinski.
Watching the 83, as you watch the first two cars here, Gary St. Amant, when they got into lap traffic, pulled away a little bit, but Mike Eddy now closing back in on the back bumper.
Let's go downstairs to Bob Dillner.
Well, Chris and Buddy, you know what's really interesting about Gary St. Amant? He's still trying to be as conservative as possible with those brakes. We've talked about how important brakes are here the entire evening. Well, look at the rotors on that car, and then look at the rotors on the 11 car. Mike Eddy is using a lot of brakes. He's really heating them up. They are glowing orange. Gary's left front and right front, not too bad just yet, buddy.
No, they're still orange, and Mike Eddy's brakes as he heads down that corner look like a fire under there. Let me tell you something. They're getting down to the point in the race where I'm going to lean on it if I have it.
Let's go downstairs to Bob Jarrow.
And for Mike Eddy and Dave Sensiva here in the number 11 pit, it's just kind of a waiting game right now. Dave tells us that the polar bear, as he's known, Mike Eddy, does not say a lot on the radio. They're not talking about the brakes. It's in Mike Eddy's hands right now to try to bring home a win.
Number 7, Gary St. Amant, won here last year. Sawinski was second, then Garvey, Clanton, and Butch Miller. It will be different this year, although the man at the point may be the same. Gary led a race high 167 laps last year. He has led this one since lap 243. That gives us 37 laps so far once he completes this one, which is lap 280. Third and fourth still at issue. Joey Clanton has it. Robbie Pyle wants it. He's about up to it, buddy.
And Joey Clanton got very loose coming off the corner. The back of the car jumped way out on him there. Robbie Pyle able to pull up, but when Clanton comes off the corner straight, he just pulls away from Pyle.
Sitco Chevrolet, a good, strong performance all through the day. All the practice and the qualifying for Robbie Pyle. Last year, he proved he could handle the track. He liked the track with pole position, but had to settle for a very disappointing finish. The 9th place battle, Johnny Spaw, number 38, who was among the contenders earlier, and Carlson in the 6th car. Look at that, buddy.
That's Carlson on the inside, but look at Johnny Sauter trying to move by everybody on the outside. Johnny Spaw right there on the inside in the 38, and Carlson right there in the 6th.
Sauter in 10th position, Spa in the 9th position. Carlson has now been shuffled back to 11th spot as we join up with Johnny Sauter. Every space he moves forward diminishes the amount of points that he's going to give up tonight. He's not going to lead probably by as much as he did coming into the event, but he can minimize the damage if he can drive through a few more cars.
Man, and he's doing a great job on the high side of the racetrack, and nobody else has been able to utilize that high line since they came back to green after the rain. But you can see him really picking the throttle up and just accelerating by these cars.
About done with leader lap 285. About 7.5 miles to go when the leader, Gary St. Amant, gets to the stripe, and he has gotten there. So is Eddie, so's Clanton, so's Pyle. And Mike Cope has gotten sideways on the front straightaway coming off 4.
And that brought out the caution, and I tell you, Sauter needed that badly. He's already up to 9th right now. That moves him up closer to the lead cars.
Chad Wood was his next target that he was working on up the track, and this comes on leader lap number 286. Let's look at it in the middle of turn 4. There's Cope at the back. Did he get bumped? He may have gotten a bump at the back from the 94 car of Paul Payne, and he did a full loop and then pointed it the right direction. There you see Payne goes by, and Cope loops it around.
Hard into the wall there in the back of the car. Boy, I tell you what, it may not look like a lot of damage. That car's hurt pretty badly.
Yeah, and it's the second collision he's had in the event. Earlier, he got collected by a blocked racetrack. Greg Stewart was across the track, and he came around the corner, spun it on purpose to try and avoid him, and whacked him with the right rear quarter panel. So a tough night for Cope, and it looked promising at the beginning. Let's go to Bob Gerald. Bob Gerald? Bob Dillner.
Well, we're down here with Bud St. Amant, Gary's dad, and Bud, I'm sure the Wins crew really didn't want to see that caution.
No, we didn't need that at all, but hopefully we can hang in there and pull one off here. I don't know.
Well, you know, you're all serious with me now, but, you know, the guy inside the car, he was just joking around a little bit, wasn't he?
Yeah, he just told the crew chief, he said, Bill, he said, I think we just lost a cylinder. And then he said, oh, I'm just kidding, just kidding.
How about that, Bobby Gerald? Still joking around, even though he's got a lot of pressure from the polar bear.
Yeah, and we've even seen a smile down here from Dave Sensiba, although you did get the splash of gas up in the eye. How you feeling?
Now, we're all right. The Myers Kellogg's Edie's car running well. I don't know what we've got for Gary. The car's been a little tight on this set of tires.
Dave just telling us that his eye's okay. And what do you think now with this yellow flag? The crew seemed happy to see it.
Mike will go for it now.
All right, they're ready to go for it. We are restarting. Eddie's on his tail.
Green flag is out. Lap 288. There they are, the two primary contenders for the victory. Last victory for Gary St. Amant 2 races ago at Salem. Last victory for Mike Eddy, 1999 in La Crosse.
What a great restart, Gary St. Amant and the 11 car Mike Eddy. They pulled out about a 10 car left lead over 3rd place.
Eddy is right there now, onto the back straightaway, 5 miles from home. Who's going to capture it? The fight for 3rd goes on. Clanton and Pyle back there.
And the one thing, you see his father looking every time he goes by. His father makes a lap with him. But one thing that did was let Eddy cool his brakes down a little bit. He was laying on the brakes pretty hard. Right now, with just a few laps to go, he's right back into it. Mike Miller very high on the racetrack in the 18.
Must have gotten out of shape, but saved it. No caution, at least no indication. I think he continued. We will continue under the green. 4 miles to go. Gary St. Amant looking for victory number 2. He came here 2nd in the points. The man he's trying to catch in the points now is running in 8th.
And there's nothing but clear track in front of these two gladiators, and they end up right down here with just a few laps to go. Mike Eddy just a mirror shadow of the car in front of him, Gary St. Amant.
There they are, Sauter trying to move through the number 2 machine of Chad Wood. That is a battle for position. We'll see if he can pick that up. Meantime, at the point, another lap is done, and Eddy is right there, just as close as before.
Mike Eddy took a look on the inside, but couldn't make it go. Gary St. Amant drove down. Oh, my goodness, we have a yellow on the racetrack. Joey
Clanton, just off turn 4, is backward on the track. He was hammer and tong with Robbie Pyle, and the yellow came out when he turned it around in turn 4. Didn't see how that started, but we assume, in fact, it is now confirmed that there was contact between Pyle and the 83 car, and Pyle came away the better of the two in terms of track position. He's now listed in 3rd, Tuttle up to 4th, Sawinski in 5th, Wood up to 6th, Sauter picks up 7th, Johnny Spa in 8th, then Carlson and Stremme, and Joey Clanton falls all the way to 15th.
Wow. After such a fight, you get back in the top 5.
A tremendous drive all night long, and it goes awry right at the end for the number 83 machine, that of Joey Clanton. At the point, things remain unchanged. We are on leader lap 296, very close to the end, and in the 5-lap arena. They're going to run the last 5 laps under the green. Let's go to Bob Gerald.
And once again with Dave Sensiba. Dave, how hungry is Mike Eddy? It's been 2 years. Can we anticipate some aggression here?
Yeah, Mike's real hungry, but, you know, we want to bring the car home in one piece. And, you know, we just had him, I think, good run going on him, and the yellow come out. So we got 5 green laps to do it.
How important now this yellow flag to cool the brakes?
Brakes ain't an issue. With 5 to go, we'll use everything we got.
All right, Mike Eddy. We'll find out exactly how hungry he is, Bob Dillner.
Well, Bobby Gerald's still standing side by side with Bud St. Amant, Gary's dad, and man, Mike Eddy, the polar bear, was all over your son there.
Yeah, I know. Gary said the car's tightening up a little bit, so maybe we can hold off about 5 more laps. That'd tickle me to death.
What was that scowl on your face when I mentioned the polar bear?
Well, he never gives up either.
He definitely never does give up, and that's what the polar bear is all about, boys.
We're at lap 295, and the scoring is frozen under the yellow. We will run the last 5.
Boy, all racing ought to be this way.
Absolutely.
It should be decided on the racetrack, not by flags. I tell you, I love the idea of 5 green flag laps to get your winner.
7th place now belongs to Johnny Sauter, so he's a little closer to Gary St. Amant, who is the race leader and 2nd in the points. Butch Miller, 3rd in the points, who went out earlier. He won't score significantly. Joey Clanton moving so far back and now stopped on the track. Huge blow for him. Bob Dillner?
Well, bad night for Butch Miller, but he's sitting here watching a very good race. You race with both these guys. Who do you think is going to win this one?
I don't know. I'm just here I'm a great race fan right now. I'm all done being a driver. Uniform's still on, but I'm a race fan right now. I'm just enjoying a good race.
You see Mike Eddy's got the glowing rotors. Gary's been able to save his brakes a little bit more. What do you really think here, Bush?
Mike Eddy's got a reputation. Is this really on the air?
This is on the air. What are you saying? He likes to use his bumper from time to time?
All the time I've raced with Mike Eddy, he's always given me enough room plus 1/4 inch. And I think he's hoping for the same thing from Gary.
And he hasn't won in a while either.
And I has. He'll be okay. It's going to be a great race. I can't wait for the end.
Hey, Butch, what do you think about it? Is on, Butch. The 33 and the 83 got together a little while ago on the racetrack. Some tough breaks between those two, and they keep on doing it together. What advice would you give to them?
Don't do that.
Yeah, right.
But, Doc, there's a lot of, I don't know what's going on out there. I don't know if it's full moon or what, but maybe above all these clouds there's a full moon. But, I mean, there's a lot of tempers going on out there, and it's a good race to watch. Like I say, I don't know. I'd like to be involved, but I'm watching, I'm enjoying.
I was going to say, he likes watching it, but I'm certain that Butch Miller would rather be out there in that Meyer Chevrolet.
That's like the old question. The guy goes to the doctor and says, "Doc, it hurts when I do this," and stop doing it.
Well, yeah, don't do it.
Still under the yellow, still 5 laps to go. Scoring is frozen. Joey Clinton came onto pit road, got some service, tried to get back up pit road. He has clutch problems, and it was a very difficult escape. In fact, where'd he go?
Chris, we have 1 lap to go before they drop the green. I will tell you, that's 2 of the best short track drivers in the United States up there in first and second.
And Robbie Pyle in third. Then Russ Tuttle in 4th position. This will be his best finish if he stays there, or if he improves. Even if he drops a few spots, it will be his best finish in second top 10 of the year. Then Kevin Sawinski in 5th, Wood in 6th, Johnny Sauter in the 7th position. And he's been working on Wood to try and pick up a few more precious points for several laps now. Here we go. 5 to go.
Great start by the number 7 car again, Gary St. Amant. Really off turn 4 there, just flew out of that corner.
In turn 3 they are. Deep into the corner, the number 11. There's the number 9 machine in the middle of the corner, still working on Wood, going to try him on the high side. That's a fight for 6th place in the race.
And he drives it down in the corner, trying to hold it, the 2 car Chad Wood down on the bottom, and he gets that spot.
So Sauter picks up a few more points. At the point, it is still Gary St. Amant coming off the corner, about to complete 297. 3 to go, 1.5 miles. Pyle may not get to these 2 guys. It's between Gary St. Amant and Mike Eddy. Russ Tuttle, number 16, is running in the 4th spot.
What about that? All of a sudden, Russ Tuttle right up there. You can see Gary St. Amant's dad really doing the neck motion there, watching his son go by. Mike Eddy has not given up by any means.
Less than 2 laps to go, about 1.5 laps. They're in turn at number 3, coming back to the straightaway. He'll see a white flag this time through.
White flag. And Robbie Pyle, he's right up there in tire tracks for the first 2 cars.
Mike Eddy, can he get to him? Turn number 2 on the final lap. There he goes. Contact the roof. He bent the right front fender, and out of control is St. Amant. Pyle comes through in turn number 3 and onto the straightaway. The dash to the wire. Robbie Pyle wins. Second place, Mike Eddy. St. Amant is stuck up against the wall on the back straightaway in turn 3.
Well, brother, I'm telling you, they made contact coming out of turn 3. And Gary St. Amant looked like he was going to continue on. All of a sudden, the car just flipped around there and got into the outside wall.
I thought he had separated and was going to be able to hang on to the race car. It was a bump from the back from Mike Eddy. He could see the right front fender and the hood crumpled. It was a fairly hard hit. Bob Gerald.
We're down here with Bob Cumbo, the crew chief for Robbie Pyle, and he's standing right here with me. Unbelievable, Bob. Can you believe what you just saw?
Not in a million years. I tell you, we were tickled to death running 3rd from where we came from tonight, as bad as the car was. It's unfortunate what happened with Joey. It's unfortunate what just happened with Gary. We were probably a 3rd place car and happy to be there, but we'll take this one for sure. And we're going back up top, guys.
Well, Gary St. Amant, you see him on a dead sprint across the infield. He unstrapped and got out of the car, and you know where he's headed, buddy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, that is not a happy face on him as he comes across here. They'll probably grab him and try to hold him back, but he's on his way to the 11 car of Mike Eddy right at the moment.
Well, he's gotten to the pit wall, and the three cars, the top three, Pyle, Eddie, and Kevin Sawinski, who got by Tuttle right at the end. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
Well, we're down here in Victory Lane. Gary St. Amant walking over to Mike Eddy.
Fucking wall!
A heated discussion down here, guys. Gary St. Amant not happy at all. Mike Eddy sitting inside the car, both screaming to each other right now. Try to get a word with Gary St. Amant.
Well, he said his piece and he's leaving, which is probably the proper thing to do. Let's go back to Bob Dillner.
We're down here with Gary St. Amant. Obviously, very, very upset, Gary. Gary does not want to talk, and I don't blame him.
Half a lap away. Here it is.
Contact right there. The two cars really locked together. You can see it right there. It looks like he might save it, but it just whips around and gets into the outside wall hard there with the back end of the car, costing the race.
And Robbie Pyle drove between the two contestants and went on to the victory. Bob Gerald.
And here is Mike Eddy. We saw Gary St. Amant just come over and have some words. Take us through that last lap from your standpoint, Mike.
Well, where I was sitting, he got into one there and two and left enough room for me to get underneath and coming off. He was pushing, I was pushing a little, but I don't really think I run into him until he cut down. So that's the way it's go. It's racing.
And then it turns out to be a race to the finish between you and an unlikely source, the 63 of Robbie Pyle. Talk to us about that after the contact.
After me and Gary made the contact there, I was wrecked too. We were just trying to get around the last corner, and Robbie won the race.
All right, so Mike Eddy brings it home in second, his second straight second-place finish.
So big points pickup for Sawinski. Eddie Pyle picks up some points. Gary St. Amant looked like he was gained significantly on Sauter, but because of this, he's not.
Well, as you know, I really like Mike Eddy, but I will tell you that Gary St. Amant did not come down coming off that corner. So that's just that's a racing thing that happens on short tracks, but I know why Gary St. Amant has to be mad.
Let's take another look at a little higher angle right here. There you see it. Up comes the car. There's the contact. You see the ripple in the hood.
Yeah, and you can see the tires there on Gary St. Amant's car never turned to the left to come down.
Looked like the left rear may have gone down on St. Amant's car, contributing to the difficulty.
See this?
Well,
the contact's made there, and it was a clean entry off the corner there. I mean, it's just one of those things that happen.
So Robbie Pyle takes advantage of that collision, storms around and picks up his first victory of this season. Mike Eddy second, then Kevin Sawinski. We'll be back with more in a moment. Coverage of the 2001 ASA AC-Delco Racing Series Championship is being brought to you by BF Goodrich Tires. Take control.
This is what it's all about. Robbie Pyle winning his first ever race amidst a lot of controversy here in Madison, Wisconsin. They used to call him the Rocket on the short tracks of Ohio. And man, you rocketed right to the front and took advantage of the situation, Robbie.
Yeah, I was thinking we had a top 5 car there and feel very bad about getting into Joey there, but we ran out of racetrack and I thought, man, we'll just watch these guys race and maybe something will happen. And sure enough, it happened to our advantage today. I still can't believe it. And I got to thank the Vortec engines. They've been great all day. BF Goodrich, Sitco, all this crew, man, they have stuck by me here this year, and I still can't believe this is happening.
You're pretty calm, though, for a guy that just won his first ASA short track race.
Yeah, it hadn't sunk in yet. I saw those guys wreck on the backstretch, and I'm thinking, just stay out of the wreck.
Robbie Pyle getting the dousing he deserves. Brian Schwartz, the car chief. Brian, of course, ran the car earlier in the season. Brian, just a wonderful night for you guys here.
Oh, it was a great night. I tell you what a finish. We didn't have a car at the start of that race to win this thing, but the crew worked hard and everybody back at the shop. Just an awesome, awesome race. Robbie drove a heck of a race here.
Hats off to Robbie Pyle, his first career ASA victory.
And a terrific effort it was. He was well qualified, Buddy Baker, fell back early, had a bit of an ill-handling car, stayed with it, worked it all night long, and came back and picked up the win. Let's go to Bob Gerald.
And we have now caught up with Gary St. Amant, the driver of the number 7. And Gary, we spoke with Mike Eddy. He felt like he gave you room there on the last lap. Obviously, you saw things a little bit differently. You calm down now?
Yeah, I'm calmed down. if he gave me room, you know, I think he wanted me to be on the other side of the wall on the last lap. You know, I was all the way up on the wall. He run into me, got me sideways. I come down into him. You know, I told my crew, I said, you know, I said, this really is about points. If he gets underneath me, let me know, and we'll finish second to Mike Eddy because he's not a factor in the points championship. But what does he have to do? He has to wreck us. And it's really a shame because that was a brand new race car, first time we'd ever raced it. Port City race car is great. You know, but I'll tell you, I mean, it's really hard to get, you know, within a half a lap of a victory, 2 in a row at Madison, and to not win. So
A disappointed Gary St. Amant, guys.
Don't blame him. Very, very disappointing evening for him, but for Robbie Pyle, a huge breath of fresh air. A tremendous run for him. Join us again in 9 days' time. We'll be in Jennerstown at 2 in the afternoon on that Sunday. For Buddy and Bob, I'm Chris. So long, everybody.